Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Happy Friday, TGIF.
Yeah. Welcome back, Randy, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I should have just taken this day off, too, but I didn't. I miss you guys. I miss you guys. I listened to most of the show yesterday. Me and Chris Muir from Golf Discount went over and played at Dalhousie with our friend Jeff McKenna, and so we were driving to Cape yesterday, and during the show we got to hear you guys. Sounded great. Thank you very much for doing such a great job without me. I don't know if they need to give me a new contract. And B, CD for winning the fight.
Oh, yes.
Had to go to
Held it down.
In overtime.
Had to go to overtime, but a win is a win.
Yeah. So that's Brooke, that's Carrie. I'm Randy. Matthew Rocchio is here. Later on in the show, we're going to hear from Mizzou running back Cody Schrader. M-I-Z. Well, Brooke, you and I can do it. M-I-Z-Z-O-U. They've got Florida tomorrow night at Furrow Field. CD didn't do it.
No.
It's okay. He doesn't have to worry about being the number 9 team in the country. His home state team being number 9 in the country.
Good for those guys.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk to Joey Vitale later on in the show as well. A lot going on in the world of sports. If you stayed up for the Blues game against San Jose last night after the early part of the second period, you're an idiot. Sorry.
Randy.
Sorry about it.
Some people want to stay up for that.
Those people are, you know what they're doing? They're hitting themselves with the palm, they're the base of the palm of their hand, hitting themselves in the forehead saying, idiot, because they did it. I would have. I hung with it too long. And I'm an idiot, so I am in the group. But yeah, they were not coming back after like the first 3.5 minutes of the second period.
Was it the 3 goals in 3 minutes?
Yeah, that kind of did
You
it
could
for
shut
me.
it off after that.
Yeah, it was not great. But the Blues did get a goal from Pavel Buchnevich, which is positive, I guess. If you
no, the important part is who got the assist on that.
Oh,
goal.
did Bobby Tommy?
Bobby Tommy got an assist.
Bobby Tommy.
What is
And
it,
we're
an
safe
8-game
again.
point streak?
And Carrie, and by extension the show, are safe.
He was worried that because I brought it up, it might end. Yeah, they did lose.
Yeah. He's just turning into
That wasn't the point, though.
And
the point streak's still going.
I said the point streak.
Exactly.
Jinx if he gets a point.
And he said he's not superstitious, maybe a little stitious because he was worried about being jinxed, but he's not superstitious.
That's a bad loss, man.
It is. That's a bad team they lost to.
That is not a good team. You can lose a game, and maybe we'll just chalk it up to being first game of a road trip. Flying to San Jose, and maybe we can
Nobody
count
else
it as
is doing that.
Okay, all right. Well, I tried. I'm trying to find reasons how you lose 5-1. To a team that is
it's called mailing it in.
That's their third win this year.
Yeah, the Blues mailed it in last night, didn't they? And by the way, poor Joel Hofer. I mean, when they get outshot, they were at one point in the first period it was 11-2, and I think it was 13-3 at one point. Hofer was just under siege, and then at the beginning of the second period, I mean, he just didn't have a chance.
Well, also the thing that troubled me, the Blues didn't get their first shot on goal till like 10 minutes into the first period. And you're just wondering, like, Pavel Buchnevich had a shot right in. You can't ask him to put the puck in. He was right in front of the net and decided to pass it. And so, I don't know.
Yeah, it was not great.
It was the first period where it just felt like they came in, honestly, to me, when you're looking at the effort, specifically in that first period, and then at the beginning of that second period was not good either. It just kind of felt like they thought maybe they could show up.
Yes.
And that was not enough to do against the Sharks. So it was disappointing. You win 3 straight games. You're kind of hoping that you're leaving that stuff behind, and that still can be the case, but it's just not a great way to start this West Coast trip because the Sharks are not a good team whatsoever, and that should have been an easy win in this trip.
Baseball, as Greg Amsinger predicted with you guys yesterday, Shohei Ohtani and Ronald Acuna both win their league MVPs unanimously, and I think everybody's cool with this. I can't imagine that somebody would have had a dissenting vote against Ohtani or Acuna. They were clearly the two top guys.
No, it made sense. And then did you see the video, too, of Shohei Ohtani with his dog? His dog was there for him whenever he won the award.
That's a smart thing to do.
It was so cute.
Yeah, have the dog there rather than the significant other.
Does he have one?
You don't have to answer those questions.
But
you don't have to do the awkward question.
You had the awkward pause when they asked, who do you want next to you?
Exactly. By the way, baseball, the Cardinals announced their 35 giveaway promotion schedule yesterday. Yeah, pretty exciting. You've got a Cardinals Hall of Fame car bobble. You've got a Jordan Walker bobblehead. You've got an Adam Wainwright bobblehead with his dog Louie. You've got a Larry Walker and Scott Rowland bobblehead. You also have jerseys and hats and mystery Cardinal rope hats. You've got Lars Nootbaar growth poster. You've got all this cool stuff. Scrolling. You've got a Stan Musial tumbler. Scrolling. Looking for the Goldschmidt and Arenado promotions. Looking. 35 promotions and no Goldschmidt or Arenado promotions by the Cardinals in 2024.
Why not?
Brooke has a question.
What is the Lars Nootbaar growth poster? Is this like to measure your height?
This is for, so kids can measure their height. You just put that Lars Nootbaar growth poster up in a room so that for the 2024 season you can measure how high your kid grows, and then so that they can remember Lars Nootbaar after 2024 when he's traded.
Oh man,
Randy! Whoa!
Where's he
Why
going?
is that going to happen?
Last outfielders to stick around the Cardinals for a while.
No, don't. But this is different. Who's
the
Jim
last? Maybe last Cardinal outfielder where a kid grew appreciably during his time here.
That's a very good question.
Some kids do grow very quickly, like have a very quick growth spurt. So, in a summer, something can change. Yes, I think that's very fair.
That's a very good question. Is it Jim Edmonds?
It might be.
Oh, 4 or 5 years.
Would you say that?
Well, Harrison
was
Bader. How many years?
Yeah,
Harrison Bader.
Bader, yeah.
Bader had 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you
4.5.
go. Tyler O'Neill here and there.
Not really.
He's almost like you never knew him.
Yeah, like a kid goes, you put a kid next to a Tyler O'Neill growth poster, and he says, "Who's that?"
Hey, Randy.
I never saw him play.
Stop. Lars is going to stay because if you guys didn't see the other breaking news, Lars golfing with Yamamoto yesterday. It was all over the social media on X.
Was it here?
No, it was definitely not here. Not here.
That's where Lars Nootbaar lands. That's where your growth poster should be.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
No.
Brooke is glaring at me.
That's not news that she wants to hear.
The good thing.
I don't like any of this, Randy. I don't like any of this.
The good thing is that there's no market within like a 1 hour flight of where Lars Nootbaar plays where Shohei would want to play. That's the good thing.
Well, it's going to be intriguing to see how this all pans out.
So,
well, in the perfect little social media world, Lars Nootbaar is recruiting Yamamoto, so that's what I'm going to pretend to believe, guys.
Yeah, go to Chicago. Just believe it. It's like, you're like the little girl in Miracle on 34th Street. I believe.
It's a beautiful friendship that needs to continue here in St. Louis.
Yeah. Football last night, the Kyler's film room off to a roaring start because Gus Edwards of the Ravens scores a couple of touchdowns, and Joe Burrow is hurt. I don't think Joe Burrow's coming back this season, kids. The Ravens beat the Bengals 34-20, and Burrow has a wrist injury.
It looked to me like obviously he was in pain. The pain it looked to me like it looked nerve instead of just the wrist. I've had, whenever you have a nerve issue, it's a shooting pain that kind of signals through your entire body. I don't know if it was just the wrist. I know he had the wrist brace on. They spotted it when they landed into Baltimore yesterday. But it's just intriguing to see how that plays out. Also, the Bengals didn't put that on the injury report.
I saw that.
That's troubling.
Yes.
Because if your quarterback is injured, meaning he's been getting treatment, going through all of these issues and trying to get it healed, and then misses time because of that issue, the Bengals are going to have a little bit of a problem on their hands.
That'll be a fine because you're affecting the betting line.
Yes,
it does.
And doesn't want to do that.
Did you see some of the videos where people were showing where it looked like he had been wearing recently something on his wrist? So you would think that this has been hampering him for a while. But when you saw him on the sidelines and he was practicing throwing, you could see the pain that he was going through. This is turning into the year of the backup quarterback in the NFL, isn't it? That's what it feels like right now. And when you look at the AFC North CD with things that are panning out, obviously the Ravens are at the top, but does this look a little bit better for your Steelers, considering you have the Browns without Deshaun Watson? Now Joe Burrow is going to be questionable for the Bengals?
I think it looks better for the Houston Texans, for the Buffalo Bills, because you go from all four of those teams potentially making the playoffs in the AFC North to now maybe two quarterbacks out with Deshaun Watson and maybe Joe Burrow. So you probably have 2 teams instead of 4 teams from the AFC North making it. And
guys,
that changes things.
None of this matters.
Why not?
Because there's only 2 teams in the AFC.
Who are those?
It's the Ravens and the Chiefs.
That is,
it's the Ravens and the Chiefs, and the rest of it. If those 2 teams are healthy, the rest of it doesn't matter.
Well, Mark Andrews went down last night with a season-ending injury as well.
Was it season-ending?
That's what they said.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yes,
because there was a stat that Lamar with Andrews playing had 10 touchdown passes. And I think with Andrews out of the lineup, none.
That's not great.
No. Although Odell Beckham had over 100 yards for them last night, so that was big. But maybe this is just opening up for the Chiefs again.
We'll see. Monday is going to be a good game, big game for them because they play a really good team in the Eagles at Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken, and it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, that's Monday night, isn't it?
Yeah,
that'll make Joe Buck happy. That's a pretty good game for Monday Night Football.
No, they're at home. They're in Kansas City.
Even better. And the sneaky team down there that I just don't think they're going to have to get us at some point. They're going to have to get our respect. But it's the Jaguars. The Jaguars won a playoff game last year. They were really good. See, Kerry still doesn't respect.
I won't do it.
Yep.
Why won't you do it,
They
CD?
lost to the Texans, and then they just lost. They just got beat the hell out of by the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the 49ers are a really good team, obviously. But I won't do it. I won't believe in the Jags. I just don't. I don't have that in me to believe in them yet.
I remember a game.
Maybe not. They're 2 years away from me from believing in them.
5-6 years ago, there was a Monday night game where the Chiefs beat the Patriots like 40-14. Everybody said, "Oh, the Patriots are done. They're awful. They're terrible." Kerry, you lived it. You're going to have games like that.
Yeah.
And you can still win the Super Bowl even when you lose games like that.
Yes, you can.
So, but they're well coached. Jacksonville is. They got a good quarterback. They've got a lot of talent, and they're ascending. And by the way, Miami is too. And Miami now with their cornerbacks back, Miami's going to be a snootful, as Sevy would say back in the day. They're Miami with Ramsey and Xavier Howard, and they can get after the quarterback with Chubb. And then we know what their offense is.
They're going to be facing the mighty Titans. The Jaguars
Titans,
there you go.
Titans.
My dad used to call it the toilet bowl because they have been bad for so long in recent years.
Will
and so
Levis.
you'll see who will be the new young quarterback on the rise in this matchup.
Levis versus Tua? Is that the one?
What is it?
Which
The
team?
Titans are playing the Jaguars.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Titans are playing the Jaguars, not
Yeah.
the Dolphins. Okay. Oh, so it's Levis versus
Lawrence.
Trevor.
Trevor Lawrence got
Yes.
9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I'm just not. I mean,
bought
I
in.
think he's good. I think he was. You know what's crazy? I think his freshman year at Clemson might have been his best football I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He set the bar so high. And not that he's completely, fallen off. He's still a very good quarterback, second-tier quarterback. I just don't believe that they have all of the pieces just yet. I think they still need like a star defensive player, 2 star defensive players.
Never
something
hurts.
like that.
Never hurts. All right, we're off and running here on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Carrie, Randy, a happy Friday to you, TGIF. The free agent pitching demand is going to be higher than the supply, which means prices are going to go up. Will the Cardinals reach a puke point? That's next on 101 ESPN.
free agent class is like over the top, jaw dropping, like we've seen in other years. But because the demand is so high, all of these guys are going to get paid. Yamamoto is going to get $240 to $250 million. I mean, that's just the way it is. He's the number one guy out there on the market. Dodgers are honing in on him. I think Aaron Nola is going to get what he wants, which is over $200 million. There's just too many people that want his services, and he gives the exact sort of opposite talents that Blake Snell provides.
That's Greg Amsinger yesterday on the opening drive on 101 ESPN, and he is 100% right. And this goes back to one thing that we talked about late in the season when Shohei Ohtani injured his arm. He's out for next season. And then Julio Urias of the Dodgers got into his legal issues. And all of a sudden, pitchers that you didn't think were going to get $140, $150, $160 million, they rise up into that range. And a guy like Aaron Nola, who a lot of people thought would be, okay, 190, 200, all of a sudden he becomes a $220, $230 million guy. And Yamamoto has become the head of the class here. And the question becomes for the Cardinals, are they willing to go there? And I know that we get mad at the Cardinals for not spending. And for Bill DeWitt, who started the analytics movement with the idea when he brought in Jeff Luhnow, he wanted to put a price tag on players. Okay, this is what a player has accomplished. This is what he deserves. And the Cardinals have stayed true to that philosophy. This is what he should get. Now, everybody is going to have to change because emotion, every team for a while stayed with that thought process with analytics. Okay, here's the price, here's what this player deserves. But then Steve Cohen bought a team. And all of a sudden, people started impulse buying and emotion buying. And that changed the market, and it's changed it dramatically. But if I'm the Cardinals, and I'm not even going to use Sonny Gray here, a name that we were texting yesterday, Michael Wacha. Does Michael Wacha all of a sudden become a 2-year, $45 million pitcher just because there are no pitchers available? No. You don't sign Michael Wacha for $22.5 million a year just because he's there. I would sooner take my chances on some of the young pitchers the Cardinals have. Michael Wacha, you know what he is, and especially as a Cardinal, you know he's going to get hurt at some point, and you know he's not going to give you a ton of innings. So just because he's had 2 good years in a row, in my opinion, you don't give Michael Wacha money because the money for Aaron Nola went up.
That's the point, too, is how are they going to go about this? Because you also don't want to be left in that article that we were discussing yesterday about the supply and the demand. You don't want to be the person who's left standing while all this is going around, because then you're going to be scrambling and make some of those desperation moves that where you are worried about if you're spending the right money or not. I like that somebody texted this in from the 636. They said you have to puke and rally. That's what I want for the Cardinals. I want a puke point where you puke and then you get going and you rally again and you continue to build up that momentum. Now, Blake Snell is somebody that I think is interesting. I'm sure that you heard, Randy, we asked Greg Amsinger about him yesterday, and the projection in this Athletic article is that he would get 5 years, $135 million. Why do I feel like that is going to not be accurate? It's going to be a lot higher than that.
I think it will, because he's got the swing and miss. The one thing that would preclude him from getting more than that is that he's not a horse. He's a 5-inning pitcher. He's 5 and dive. And is that what the Cardinals need? Well, they can use the swing and miss. You can always use a Cy Young Award winner. But he is conditioned to be a 5-inning pitcher. That's been his career. Cardinals have a lot of issues in the bullpen, too. Now, 500 or 5 years and 135 for Snell. If you can get him for that, especially based on that history of guys, left-handers that win their second Cy Young beyond the age of 30. Although I don't know that Blake Snell has the advantages that Randy Johnson had before 2004. So there are some questions there. I think, though, if you have Blake Snell on your team, while a great pitcher, you still need a horse. You need somebody who, when your bullpen gets torn up because Zach Thompson goes 2 1/3 and gives up 7 runs, and you have to use your entire bullpen on a Tuesday, you need to have a guy that'll give you 7 innings on Wednesday. And the Cardinals don't have that guy. And if they have Blake Snell, they won't have that guy.
I think the issue that the Cardinals are going to run into, and we were talking about it yesterday, we were reading an article from The Athletic, John Mozeliak said, because of the uber competition that is going to be available for those top-tier pitchers, we may not, the Cardinals may not be able to play in those waters or may not be willing to play in those waters, which means Blake Snell, Aaron Nola, Yamamoto. Those names are names that the Cardinals may not go after or may not be willing to go after. And then you said it, Randy, where do you go from there?
Well, here's the thing. If you want to spend money smartly, if you're the Cardinals, look at the best team you ever had. Look at the best team you ever had. Now, did they win the World Series? No. But did they win 105 games during the season? Yes. You had Matt Morris, who had come off Tommy John a couple of years earlier. He went 15-10 in 2004. You had Jason Marquis, who was not thought highly of by the Braves, and they traded him here along with Adam Wainwright for J.D. Drew. You have a Dave Duncan reclamation project in Marquis. You have a Dave Duncan reclamation project in Woody Williams. You have a Dave Duncan reclamation product in Jeff Suppan. You have a Dave Duncan reclamation product in Chris Carpenter. If you want to spend money, and it's not going to cost you $100 million, you go out and get the best damn pitching coach in America and bring him in and reclaim quality pitching. That team, and pretty much every team that Dave Duncan was associated with, saved the Cardinals hundreds of millions of dollars because they didn't have to do what they're going to do now and go out and buy pitchers. They let the best guy get away, the guy who just won the World Series. But you go out and get the best pitching coach, and if you want to save money, net, as the Pobo would say, if you want to save money net, you get yourself a great pitching coach, and you go out and you trade for an Alek Manoah. You go out and sign a Sean Manaea. You go out and get a pitcher that has been good previously that can reclaim that glory because he's well coached.
Does that feed the need of the mob? The mob being St. Louis Cardinal fans
solves everything.
You think those guys, because the quote that I was talking about from that we were talking about yesterday, it says, this is John Mazzei, I think we'll be able to add 2 starters, but they're not all going to be like the guy. That's going to be hard. The upper tier of this market is going to be uber competitive. Mm-hmm. Again, you're in my opinion, you just kind of completely removed yourself from the conversation of those 3 to 4 guys that are the top tier guys.
Brooke, who did you want last offseason? Of all of the pitchers that got signed, when you have Verlander signing and you had DeGrom signing and you had Rodon getting signed, who was your guy?
I mean, of course, you would like those big names, but I'm saying Nathan Eovaldi.
It was.
Nathan Eovaldi, 2 years, $34 million, and there is some reclamation projects that are out there currently right now for the Cardinals. So, okay, say that you don't reach your puke point when it comes to spending money for one of those top tier pitchers, or the names that we have been talking about, a Yamamoto, Blake Snell, and even an Aaron Nola. Then you have to, one, reach your puke point when it comes to a trade, and so you're going to have to give up some things that you don't want to necessarily give up, and then you can go get some of those reclamation projects. I think Lucas Giolito is a very interesting name. Nick Martinez is another one that's a big possibility. The Cardinals were interested in him, if you remember, before signing Steven Matz. There's some names out there that definitely are in need of a bounce back year. Yeah. But to your point, Randy, how do you feel, though, about the coaching staff and making sure, because that's a big part of being able to kind of revive that, or at least put that person in a good position? And
I wonder, because I don't know the answer to this, and Brooke, you may, because you have a good relationship with Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty and Giolito are tight. High school players together on the same team. I wonder what Jack Flaherty, if Giolito calls him and says, okay, I got 2 offers. Cardinals are 1. Let's just throw another team out there. The Seattle Mariners are, no, Seattle doesn't need pitching. The Giants need pitching. I've got the same offer, Cardinals and Giants. Where should I go? What's Jack Flaherty going to say about the Cardinals?
I think that Jack Flaherty, of course, the comments that he made, I know a lot of fans were frustrated by when he went over to the Orioles. If you remember the comments that were very kind of, it seemed, directed at the Cardinals. But I'm sure his tune has changed after his experience and how things ended up with the Orioles. Remember, he ended up in the bullpen. I'm sure his perspective has changed a little bit. And I would hope that he would say positive things, because he did have a good relationship with the Cardinals organization. Adam Wainwright and him had a very close relationship, so he had good times here. I think that after his experience with the Orioles towards the end there, he would have a different perspective than maybe if you would have asked him prior to the trade.
And would I love the Cardinals to go out and sign both Yamamoto and Nola and go out and trade for Dylan Cease? All of that, I would. But I think we have to be realistic here. With the quote that you gave us, CD, and with the price of starting pitching, at least projected to be what it's going to be, I just don't see the Cardinals doing that. By the way, I don't see them going out and getting a pitching coach either. But I think right now we're probably talking about Sonny Gray being their guy. I would love for the Cardinals to go out and get Kyle Gibson, who is here. He's a local guy and had a good year last year with the Orioles. I don't see the Cardinals, unless it is Sonny Gray, going out and getting one of those big-time guys.
No.
Realistically speaking, just because I think we're being put on notice by Mo that
100%.
it's going to be too competitive for them.
That's what he's saying. And do you think, though, the Cardinals should modernize their approach when it comes to spending for starting pitching? Do you think that they should, or are you okay with this?
That's the problem. I don't think you can tell someone how to spend their money, and it's been that's kind of been the thought process from fans and from everyone alike. But at the end of the day, one person writes the checks. And so if that person says, I don't want to do that, then should they? Maybe. Will they? Probably not.
And here's the thing. The Cardinals should, in my opinion, their model should be Atlanta. Right? The Cardinals are not a model organization that other people chase. The Cardinals should be chasing other organizations. Atlanta finished with the best record in the National League, and their starting rotation was Spencer Strider, who's 24 and was in his second year. Bryce Elder, 24 in his second year. Charlie Morton, the old grizzled veteran, and the Cardinals have a few of those. Miles Michaelis kind of fits that role. Max Fried, a guy that they developed, and Jared Schuster, a guy that they developed. Plus, they had a few more guys that made starts or were not available to them that they counted on being starters. But they have Rick Kranitz, their pitching coach, who helped develop young pitchers. If you're not going to spend, then you've got to develop. And I think that's where the Cardinals need to be more. I think they need to make more effort there in the development of young players. By the way, the Cardinals, in all of baseball, for each of their farm teams, they have the fewest coaches at each of their farm teams.
Yeah, that's 100% what you need to do.
Yeah,
that's something that when you're changing your approach, and it seems like maybe that they will look towards that moving forward. If you can't go out and go spend the money on the big starting pitchers, then you have to figure it out elsewhere. Yeah. But if you're having a quick turnaround for 2024, spending money is something that you are going to have to do. Right?
I don't think it's going to happen.
Get Dusty Rhodes some help. Get Dusty Rhodes some help, okay? Coming up, Jay Delsing, 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues last night in San Jose to face off against the Sharks for a late one, and it was over early as they lost 5-1 to the Sharks. They are off today, back in action tomorrow. It's the West Coast road trip, so it's another late game. This time, though, it's on Saturday. 9:30 p.m. puck drop for the Blues and the Kings on Saturday. You can catch the pregame show right here on 101 ESPN starting at 8:30. Also, last night, another week of NFL football gets kicked off with Thursday Night Football last night. Ravens over the Bengals 34-20. There was some injury concerns on both sides of the ball as Joe Burrow leaves the game for the Bengals and Mark Andrews, the tight end, leaves the game for the Ravens. That is your Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
And on the celebrity line right now is our friend, former PGA pro, great St. Louis and great guy, Jay Delsing. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, we're back. Good morning. I was able to answer the phone today. That's a pretty impressive start for me, isn't it?
Yeah, any day you can answer the phone is a good day, Jay. I got a live question for you. Golf Digest has a story about 10 live golfers who, under a new look system, could get bounced from live. And they include Carlos Ortiz, Pat Perez, David Puig, Matt Jones, Bernd Weisberger. That'd be an interesting name to have, Burnt. Graham McDowell, Jediah Morgan, James Piot, Chase Koepka, Brooks's brother, and Siwon Kim. My question is, if you went to live and you get bounced from live, are you screwed?
How would you like to be in that list? I don't, Randy. I have been reading every single day in the weeds on what they're releasing, and it's so hard to follow. There's free agency. These guys, there's some relegation. The bottom four guys are now going to be relegated, and then I guess you just go into golf hell. I mean, I don't know where you go. Which tour do you play? How can you earn a living? I don't know. And I mean, nobody even knows how long people's contracts are. So Pat Perez, for example, his contract is up, and so he either has to be re-signed. I don't know if it's Dustin Johnson makes this call because he's the captain of this. I don't even know the name of their team. But I mean,
it might be the Four Aces, Jay.
The Four Aces. Yeah, I should be better at that, but I really don't care that much. It's just one of those things. I'm not really sure what the hell what you do. I mean, they're having some sort of makeshift qualifying system for these four spots, but the biggest challenge is just trying to keep up with what the hell they're doing, and I don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't know where you play. Here's where you don't play. You don't play on the PGA Tour, you don't play on the LIV Tour, and you don't play on the DP World Tour. So that pretty much, in terms of professional golfer parlance and you know where you want to go. Yeah, that's tough.
By the way, Chase Koepka dropped from Brooks Koepka's team. How do you think next Thursday is going to go with the Koepka household?
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Although I don't know if you saw that Brooks bought his brother a Lamborghini for making a hole-in-one in one of the live events.
Oh, so we're all good then.
I wasn't sure, do we get lime green or do we get white? It's a big decision.
What a tough decision that is. Well, somebody who loves
we got some first world problems.
Yeah, that's a whole different world problem. Well, Rory, I know that you probably have seen this news. He explained his resignation recently for leaving the PGA Tour Policy Board. And so what are your thoughts on Rory leaving the board?
Guys, it all goes to Brooke, that's a great question to me because I think it all goes back to that. I think it was June 6th when our commissioner came out and talked about a merger with the Saudis. I mean, you stabbed the guy in the back, you kicked him somewhere below the belt, and there's just no way to recover from that if you're Rory. I mean, how do you sit there and go, I've been involved and I'm doing all I can. I'm kind of the front man for the PGA Tour. Tiger has been back in the shadows just a bit, and this happens without anybody telling him. It just seems like Rory wasn't long to do this. And I think the fact that we've got Tiger now on the board is going to satisfy a lot of people. I just don't know where we are with anything, guys. Brooke, when it comes to wondering, like, where are we with this agreement? I mean, I think the PGA Tour was caught off guard that so many different companies want to invest money with us, and I don't understand why they were surprised by that. But the bottom line is, guys, nobody can outspend the Saudis. They can't. And so this is going to be really interesting. I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but I keep looking every day for some sort of glimpse into, what's been going on behind the scenes. And I talked to some of the older guys that I know that have, a little juice and are still hanging around out there, and nobody knows anything.
Jay, I'm looking at a video where Rory hit a ball and it landed in a spectator's lap. So I got to know, what's the strangest place where a ball that you hit landed?
There were two things, and it was both in the same tournament, Gary. I was playing in the last group on Sunday at the Greater Hartford Open, and I hit a drive that wasn't exactly great, and I had to hit this kind of wild second shot from maybe 230 yards, hit it over a tree, and I was hitting a 5-iron, and I pulled it, and I hit this lady in the ankle and just blew her ankle out. Ooh. So I saw her go down in a heap from about 230 yards, and I was like, damn. And guys, that's a brutal walk if you start thinking about that. I started walking really slowly, and I'm thinking, what am I going to say to her? And I went up to her, and she was crying, which really made me feel good. And I said, are you okay? And she said, no. I'm okay, and I'm like, damn, So you do the obligatory thing. You give them a golf ball, which is nothing. You sign a glove, and she's like, I don't even know who you are, And so I take this lady out, and then about 3 holes later, this doesn't say much for how I was hitting the ball that day, guys, but I flew a ball, and it went into this woman's purse. Oh, so she's right on the side, and I'm like, where is it? She's like, it's in my handbag. I'm like, I look in there, I'm like, what do you got in this handbag? There's all sorts of gear. So you girls, Brooke, you guys got all sorts of paraphernalia in there. That was like there's all sorts of makeup and everything. And I'm like, I don't know how to get a drop from this. We had to call it official.
Jay, I might have like 2 bags right next to me right now that I always carry with me that are like full of things.
and she never knows where anything is.
See, don't expose me like
I
that.
have daughters. They're like, it's in my purse. I'm like, yeah, that and everything else you own is in there. I mean, 2 sets of car keys. I don't know what's in there. So
there we go.
I hit this thing in this lady's purse, and I had to get a ruling. I'm like, what do we do? And I'm like, I think she's got everything in there but money. I said, you got any money in there? She's like, nah, I don't carry any money in there. I'm like, okay, I don't want to go in there. Just wait and see what happens.
Hey, Jay, one other thing. There's a kid named Kyle Berkshire. He's 27. He's in the long drive competitions. He's a world long drive leader right now. He's got ball speeds of 230 plus miles an hour. He has hit the ball 500 yards. As you have played, and you've played with all the best people, who has impressed you? Like, was there anybody where they hit their drive that took your breath away?
Oh, it has to be John Daly. I mean, because he was so far ahead of his time, and he was also doing it with really, really lousy equipment. But when I play with, here's a great example. I coached Danny Mack's children, Luke and Avery, and Avery just got Player of the Year in the state of Missouri, and Luke is just a stud. And Luke has been lifting weights. And, I'm an older guy. My eyes suck. I can't hear anything. And I'm watching him hit, and I'm like, just from the sound of it, I said, what have you been doing? And he said, well, I've been lifting weights. And we played the other day. It was 55 degrees out. We were on a par 4 that was 417 yards long. And he hit it, and Randy, I can't see a ball land from 150 yards. So this guy hits it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know where that's going to land. I saw it take off. I heard it. We go out there. He's got like 52 yards left on a 417-yard hole in 55-degree temperature. And it's just staggering to watch it take off. It's like a jet or a scud or something. I don't know what to call it, but it comes out so fast. I did get to play with Bubba Watson when I was getting ready to turn 50. The Korn Ferry allows you a year to go out and try to work on your game and play with the kids, which is really thrilling, you guys. When you get to spend 5 hours, you're 49 years old, you get to spend 5 hours with a 23-year-old kid who you'd have no idea knowing. You want to talk about a quiet day. There's not a whole hell of a lot to talk about. So I get out there and I'm playing with Bubba Watson, and I'm playing pretty well. I think we're both playing well. I'm like, I know he's long, but I'm gonna go after one. And it was a hole that they measured a drive on, and I hit one and it went about like 327. And I mean, I'd be lying to say if I had much more in the tank. I really hit it well. And of course, he doesn't know I'm having this competition with him, right? So he's over there just, and he hits it like 384. 384, and I was like, yeah, just don't even tell this story, because it was so embarrassing. And the story about the Super Walmart or the Kmart.
Yeah,
he was so far ahead of me, I couldn't tell what color his golf bag was. I'm like, okay, he's over there and I'm over here.
That's amazing. Hey Jay, who do you have coming up? You and Dan on the show on Sunday morning.
We have J.R. Rutherford, who is just such a great guy. We tell some stories with some his books and some of the great things that J.R. does, and then a fellow named Matt Minder, who owns the Amateur Players Tour. Randy, it's really cool, you guys. He's going to run over 800 tournaments around the country. It was founded here in St. Louis. There's going to be 20 amateur golf events played in St. Louis this coming year at various courses. I think Norwood's going to have a course. I think they're looking at St. Albans, some of the better public courses. And it's run like a real golf tournament. You actually putt everything out. They give cash prizes. I think it's up to $1,000 per the USGA, so that you can keep your amateur standing. And they have a Player of the Year program and all of the things, just like the PGA Tour does. They have majors. And so it's really a cool thing, and I just wanted people to know it. So that's who we have on the show.
All right, we'll be tuned in Sunday morning, 8 to 10. And Jay, I don't know. Well, we don't have a show next Friday for Black Friday, so have a very happy Thanksgiving for you and the Delsing family. We always appreciate you joining us, and have a great week and a great Thanksgiving.
All the best to you guys, too. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, sir. Take care. That is Jay Delsing on 101 ESPN. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line for TIOLI, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Take it or leave it next on 101 ESPN.
it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Just got this email flash. Apparently, official Drake adds a second show in St. Louis. He will be here not only February 12th, but February 13th as well. You can get tickets at drakerelated.com. So the Drakester is going to be here. Go to, Matthew, you told me he's going to probably go to Louis?
Yeah, you can get tickets for Drake those 2 days, but you won't be able to get a reservation at that place.
Bar
Okay.
Louis?
No, Louis on Demand.
And then the Eagles.
Oh, I was like, what are we talking about?
He loves that place. Well, last time he was here, he went there he was here for 3 nights. I think he went there 2 out of 3 nights. Yeah.
So Drake tickets at 11, Eagles at 10. Eagles in town in February for what is ostensibly their final tour. Guys, last night, Ravens, Bengals, and this happened. It was very exciting. It was Lamar Jackson. I don't know what's happening there.
Lamar in the pocket. That's caught in a lot of traffic by Nelson Aguilar to the end zone. Somersault touchdown.
All right, take it or leave it. That has to make you think of this.
My man just started throwing babies out the window. We was catching them. Unlike Aguilar and his mishaps, I like to put that out there.
You gotta see the video, though. The video, he looked at the camera, unlike Aguilar. He was so bothered by Nelson Aguilar's drop.
Saving babies' lives.
My man just started throwing babies out the window. We was catching them. Unlike Aguilar and his mishaps, I like to put that out there.
He was so mad about Nelson Aguilar. This is a situation where they were saving somebody's life from a building. And he's like, we catching the kids as they dropping out. And unlike Aguilar, who can't catch.
Nelson did last night, 37-yard catch from Lamar.
He was so bothered by that. That was hilarious.
It was one of the all-time best.
Oh, man.
So we're taking it then.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Randy, there's a story on Yahoo. A controversial tech millionaire says his father, 70, is now biologically 46 thanks to injections of his super blood. Take it or leave it. You're intrigued.
I'm in. I'm not intrigued. I'm in.
Wait, what?
Super blood.
Super blood. He's injecting his father with his own super blood. And
Is this guy 46?
No, his dad is aging at the. I don't know how.
I wonder if the super blood, his 46-year-old super blood, makes him 46.
Did you guys ever see Silicon Valley?
No.
Oh, it's a hilarious show, and they make fun of these Silicon Valley CEOs who actually do have like 25-year-olds who they both sit in a chair and they will like get like an infusion of blood from this person just because they think it keeps them young.
I'm in. My knees hurt bad.
You want to be 40 again?
Yeah. Billionaires are weird people. Like every time.
Maybe.
You put somebody else's blood in your body.
It's his own son. Maybe. Just maybe. It's a placebo.
It might be.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. And by the way, some billionaires are quite friendly, so don't just throw them all under one blanket.
They all aren't weird.
Sorry, Silicon Valley one, my bad.
Yeah, okay, good.
Who's the friendly billionaire?
Our boss, our big boss from Minnesota, is the sweetest billionaire you'd ever want to know.
Yeah.
Flies commercial, even though she's got a private jet.
She's got a big number 1 right now next to her picture, right hanging up in our office.
She does, yeah. I've named her the number 1 most powerful person in media.
Yeah.
One time we had a meeting with all of the morning shows, so all 5 morning shows, us, Courtney, Remy and Casey, Riz Show. It was you, man. So we're all sitting around the big conference table, and Ginny's in town, and her phone rings, and she doesn't have her phone silenced. And I go, come on, Ginny.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And she laughed. So it was kind of funny. I didn't get fired. I'm still here.
I know. That worked out for you. So she is really cool.
She's a sweetheart. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, take it or leave it, guys. We were talking about the injuries that now teams are experiencing. Obviously, Joe Burrow with the Bengals, and then you have Deshaun Watson with the Browns. Take it or leave it. This really opens up things for specifically the Denver Broncos to make the
I'll
playoffs.
take it. Yeah, I'll take that.
You're not full in on this,
4-5. Here they come.
I think the Broncos, they play the Vikings this weekend, which the way Joshua Dobbs is playing, it might be a loss. And then they play Cleveland. Then they go to Houston. then to L.A. to play the Chargers, at the Lions.
Thing is, they're getting better and better.
Yeah, they are, but I don't think they are. The Bills aren't a good football team. They aren't.
No.
The Packers aren't a good football team. They beat the Chiefs, which we're still trying to figure that one out. But the teams they've beaten this year are the Bears, the Packers, the Bills, and then they had the win against the Chiefs. Those aren't really good teams, but as I said, with the injuries, anything's possible, man. Who knows? Who the heck knows?
I have no idea about
This is a
People
weird
falling
NFL
out all
season.
over the place. Joe Burrow and his team not reporting the injury. I had to start Joe Burrow. What the hell are they doing? Oh, this is personal, man. I got Joey B in two leagues.
I was wondering. I'm like, Kerry wasn't the guy I expect. Like, I didn't expect Kerry to be like, hey, whoa, was this fabricated? They messed with his injury last night. You weren't the person I expected to jump on that conspiracy theory.
Doubtful or questionable.
Now
I would have still started him if he's questionable.
Oh,
but
by the way, you mentioned Joshua Dobbs.
yes.
Brooke, you're welcome.
Welcome. Oh, yeah. You want him back?
No.
Okay. I was going to text you that last night and say, you remember your quarterback that you let me borrow? You want him back? Because I love him.
There's no rules against it. Yeah.
No, you can have him back.
No, I don't want him.
Because I have Baker Mayfield.
How's your
and I
record?
have Tua.
Are you good? Because I suck. My team's 3-7.
I'm getting better.
Okay.
How about that?
I'll
I'm kind of like the Broncos right now in this situation.
How about that?
I'll give you another player.
Who else do you have? Because I'm also frustrated because I have Jamar Chase on my team. So I didn't work out. It wasn't terrible,
Wasn't
but
great.
still was not great.
One of the interesting rules about the 101 ESPN Fantasy Football League is that Randy always picks last in the waiver wire. I don't know why. I don't know how it happened.
You didn't get that rule book where
I
it
did
said
not.
that?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to pick people up, and I have no chance. All right, I'm just BK. Don't worry. I'm just joking. Okay. So BK's our commissioner, and he gets mad when I think he gets flustered because he thinks I'm being critical, and I'm not. I'm just joking around. I like being 3-7. Matthew, what do we got on the text line? You forgot about that part of this show.
BK knows you're joking like I know you're joking during the fight.
Until he's
Very
not.
serious.
Dang.
Until he's not.
Are you saying you're not joking? Take it or leave it. Teams should stop giving Frank Reich a head coaching job.
I'm going to have to.
I'm going to leave that.
Yeah, I think I might take it. And I like Frank Reich. But it's not happening for him. Now, when you're put in a position, he did go to the playoffs, right? 1 year with the Indy? And he went through, 3 quarterbacks in 3 years or 4 in 4? So
it's tough winning games.
And now he's got to develop a guy. So maybe it'll happen.
Colts. Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's an intense. We sparked the Kansas City debate, the Kansas City Chiefs debate in the show yesterday because we got to take it or leave it. He was like, I don't get why people hate the Chiefs in St. Louis, and then that obviously. So there's a lot more angry Chiefs fans. So let's go to a different topic we talked about yesterday. Take it or leave it. Breakfast should be served all day.
Take it. 100%. IHOP.
Why are you looking at me, CD?
Breakfast for dinner is wonderful.
It's a delightful
Brinner,
treat.
if you will.
Dinner, yeah. How could anybody not want that?
Anyone not want breakfast at 8 p.m.?
Oh, man. Pancakes, sausage, scrambled eggs.
I have to clear my name a little bit because I don't absolutely hate the idea. It's just me personally. I like to have the breakfast at a certain time, the breakfast foods, and then lunch, and then dinner. And then Rocchio, I don't know if you saw this, Randy, then goes on X and tries to put out this really just bad poll, the way that he worded it. He put waffles, what was it, waffles all day? Or
dinner for waffles for dinner, waffles for dinner, exclamation point, or rigid breakfast timelines.
And he even put in there, usually fun, Brooke Grimsley. And so I feel like it was not a fair
I'm
poll.
not George Gallup. I don't have to.
That's not. But yeah,
My polls.
I am
My polls.
100% a breakfast for dinner devotee. 100%.
I said I've dabbled in it. I'm fine. I've dabbled in it. It's just not my
I
preference.
had curiosities in college.
You know, it's just
It's 3 a.m. You've been out all day. You just try things.
That is funny.
Take it or leave it. The projection of Mizzou playing Iowa in the Citrus Bowl absolutely does not move the needle for the Tigers. You need a higher profile squad.
Leave it.
Well,
You're in the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, but it's Iowa.
Who cares? That's the
point.
How many times have they played Iowa in the last 5 years in the bowl
They
game?
played them in a couple bowl games, but who cares? You beat Iowa. I mean, that's the dregs of the Big Ten. Well, not exactly the dregs, sorry. But,
Thanks.
But no, it's you're playing in the Citrus Bowl. I think that's what you want to do is get the most high profile bowl you can have.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I think it would be they would be better suited to be playing a better team in that.
Why not win 45-7?
Well,
but that's not that exciting. Okay, I will say
exciting.
it's better than Tulane. What was the projection they were supposed to or they could face Tulane? And which bowl was it? I can't remember. Was it the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl?
It
Or
might
something
be,
like
yeah.
that?
It was the Peach Bowl.
what about
better.
Mizzou versus Penn State? I think that's better. That would be a better game, better matchup.
Yeah, and probably. Well, no, Iowa people travel great.
Yeah, but Penn State has you would Randy. Have you watched Iowa play football?
But here's the thing. Yes, but bowl people want butts in the seats, and they want fan bases that travel, and Iowa travels.
Yeah, but they don't travel from one end of the field to the other.
No, that's true. Well, Iowa doesn't. That's true.
So there might be butts in the seats, but not much happening on the field.
So I'm okay with the New Year's Day Bowl in Florida. Trumps everything for me.
Also, I just can't wait for the jersey combinations when Iowa's black and gold and Mizzou has to go all white. Oh, what a great jersey
I like
combo.
the white
Maybe
ones.
Mizzou could go gold with black pants and a white helmet.
It looks good.
All white with the white helmet.
As long as if it's the Sailor Tiger.
I
need the Sailor Tiger. I need the Sailor Tiger.
That's ridiculous. No,
It's the original Trouble with the Tiger.
The Sailor Tiger is classic. Carrie, come on.
I'm over it.
I could give you an unpopular opinion.
Okay.
I'd much rather have the oval tiger
Then
the
Block M?
giant tiger. Yeah, then the Block M. The Block M
like
is
the Block
ridiculous.
M.
It's Michigan. Come on.
I said we set up a cage fight for Randy and Doug Vaughn down the hall because he's upset. He thinks the Block M's the only correct one.
Well,
So, I mean, we set it up
somebody has
to-
to be the dumbest person in the world.
Square circle, and winner, I think, decides the next logo for Mizzou, and Mizzou has to take that decision.
Didn't
I
he
think
have
it
a
makes
stroke?
sense.
Oh, duh. Randy.
You're going to put me in a cage with a guy who had a stroke? What are you thinking here?
I also like the Circle M. Maybe I'm reading the fight.
The Block M,
the Circle
the Block
Tiger.
M is idiotic. Why do you like that?
Tiger? I like the Circle Tiger better, is what I'm saying. So I'm
there you
trying
go.
to read the
Thank
fight in
you.
your favor.
And I get it. If you're 88 years old, you like the Block M because it's what you went to college with, okay? I totally get that. But we are right now in 2023, almost in 2024, and Jim Harbaugh is wearing the Block M on his cap for Michigan.
Oh my God.
So are you bothered
This
that
is what
Mizzou's
I love about Mizzou people.
Take it or leave it.
Go on, continue.
Take it or leave it.
Continue.
Mizzou
This is
should get rid of
great
the
radio
Block
for me.
M during the stadium renovations.
No, the Block M there is fine, but just on the helmets, if you want to attract, Kerry, tell me if I'm wrong here. If you want to attract 16 and 17-year-old kids, you'd rather have a more modern-looking jersey.
Yes, that's why Oregon has a lot of kids.
Yeah.
That want to go there. They have so many uniform combinations. It's really cool. And when Michigan changed to Jordan brand, that changes things
Jump
too.
man?
Yeah,
Makes a
changes
difference.
things.
Yeah. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And there's nothing wrong with the Block M. You can wear it on your little cap.
It kind of sounds like there's something wrong with the Block M, Randy.
Here's the thing. People are so insistent that should be the only logo. And it's kind of ridiculous. Now, they can wear it on their cap and on their shirts, but for the team, when a player's watching on TV, the player wants something that's cool and modern. The player doesn't want something from 1964.
Well, things always come back in style, right?
Well, a lot of things do. But
just not that. It's funny because I've heard this rant from Doug on the other side of it, supporting the Block M. So,
well, he's old.
Oh my God, Randy! Come on, no,
he is.
No, don't say that. Well, you're gonna have to see him in the hallway today. Are you gonna say that to him today?
He told me the other day he's old.
He does say that. Yeah. That is very true.
Coming up, where the hell's journalism going? That's next on 101 ESPN.
perspective on the day's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
Fired for saying it, but I'll say it again. I would make up the report sometimes because A, the coach wouldn't come out at halftime, or it was too late, and I was like, I didn't want to screw up the report, so I was like, I'm just going to make this up because first of all, no coach is going to get mad if I say, hey, we need to stop hurting ourselves. We need to be better on third down. We need to stop turning the ball
Pressure
over.
the quarterback.
We need, yeah, exactly, and do a better job of getting off the field. Like they're not going to correct me on that.
Right.
So I'm like, it's fine. I'll just make up the report.
That is Charissa Thompson of Fox and of Amazon on Pardon My Take on Barstool, and talking about being a sideline reporter in the NFL, which she was late in the 2000 to 2010 range, and it started a firestorm yesterday on social media because she ostensibly is supposed to be a journalist, and journalists are not supposed to make up reports, which she admitted she did. And it is an affront to all sideline reporters because 99% of sideline reporters work really hard. They have sources. They talk to people during the week and leading up to the game. Even if it might not be the head coach, you can get information from an assistant coach. They're allowed to talk too. So for Charissa Thompson to say, I made things up, is really for her profession, and I'm not going to say for all journalism. People like to say, oh, it's the media. Well, for her profession, it really is a bad look for her. And I was really glad that people like Laura Oakman and Tracy Wolfson and some of the other sideline reporters came out and said, hey, we work really hard at this. This is our profession, and what she did is not normal, and it's not right.
It's not normal whatsoever. And I think it's very disappointing as a female sportscaster to see her say that and not understand the repercussions of what would come out from that. And there were some people on social media who said, well, there's more context to the interview. And I did not listen to the rest of the interview because I heard that one part and it was very infuriating. So unless the rest of the interview said, just kidding, that was all a joke, happy early April Fool's Day, then I don't know what other context there could be there. What she said is very damaging, especially for females in sports. Just seeing some of the comments that were coming out from this yesterday of people who were kind of waiting for something like this to happen to say, see, this is why you don't need women in sports. You see, this is why you don't need to have sideline reporters. We already got a text in from the 573. They're already upset. They said, LOL, sideline reporters are not actually important, and the job is not hard. It's all a freaking joke. I can tell you one thing for sure. One of my mentors, Dawn Davenport, she was actually one of the big reasons in Nashville. She's one of the first female sports anchors in Nashville, Tennessee. Grew up watching her, and she is a sideline reporter now. You can see her on SEC Network. You can see her on ESPN, and she also does radio in Nashville too. She works her tail off. She is constantly in meetings. They're usually on the conference calls for those games. There's a lot of prep work that goes in. Now, for Charissa to make up the report is something that is completely avoidable. Yes, you're not always going to get the coach at every single moment, and you're going to get him possibly afterwards or at different points, but there's also that goes back to your preparation earlier in the week so that you have information to fall back on that you're not making up and putting words into someone's mouth.
And I don't know if this person from the 573 has actually been a sideline reporter. I'm assuming that person has not. But as you said, and Carrie has been a sideline reporter, so you've got more info on this. But I just want to point out that you mentioned the production meetings, you mentioned the preparation, getting ready for a game, not just talking to coaches, but having all kinds of ancillary knowledge on the sideline. If you go to any game and just watch the sideline reporter, you will see, if you're a rational, logical person, and this person may or may not be, that it is not just an easy job. Carrie, the floor is yours.
Well, I have been a sideline reporter. I have had to have those conversations with coaches going into halftime or coming out of halftime, and they aren't always great conversations when your quarterback is throwing 3 interceptions. He doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to have a conversation with you, but that's your job, and it is not to make something up or pretend that we spoke. The easiest easiest thing to do in that moment is to say, you know what, I couldn't catch up with Coach, but we all are watching the game. They got to stop turning the ball over. The offensive line needs to be a little bit stronger up front and protect the quarterback. Defensively, they got to get stops. Those are all things that the coach is more than likely going to say, and you could say it. She essentially said it, but put it in the coach's words and saying that he said those words. And that, to me, is not what you should do ever. It was a couple of things. The other thing is the fact that she was on Thursday Night Football last night, and I don't know if she said anything about it or if it was just like the elephant in the room. If you are a professional in this business and you come out and say something as egregious as she said, you should take 30 seconds before the start of that show or at the end of that show. Hey, you know what? Something came out earlier today that was said by me. It was taken out of context, or what I said was not meant that way. That's the simplest thing you can do. Nothing was said. I literally turned off the game when that part, when the pregame and postgame show, I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to see what she had to say because who knows if she's telling the truth or not. At this point, you are now going to be questioned. And one last thing. The thing with all of these people that go on podcasts and just blurt out information, discretion. No one knew this. Discretion is the most important thing you can have in your life. Everybody doesn't need to know everything all the time. You want to go on podcasts and talk about your life and things that you've done. Be discreet with some of the details. Save it for a book if you want to. When you're done 20, 30 years from now, get paid for it. But don't go on a podcast and give out all of the information. Discretion, keyword of the day. Keep it with you. Everyone doesn't need to know what's going on at all times.
Exactly. And it was just not humbled. The way that she just really easily said that, CD, I mean, that was just infuriating to listen to. And as I mentioned, just being a female in sports, you're constantly going to get questioned, right? You're constantly going to get blowback for just your thoughts, your opinions, and if you really are in things for the right intentions. I always have heard that a million times, and I know that you guys have, being around other females in sports, that is something that is always generally brought up. And so when you just really open up that where people feel like they can validate their opinions. Oh, and by the way, another thing this opens up is people really don't like journalists right now. And so then you just add more. Exactly. So then you add more fuel to the fire with that. There are great journalists out there, plenty more than what Charissa Thompson did by making up a report. And supposedly she only did it for a few games early on in her career. And the way that she phrased it made it seem like she was doing it because she needed airtime. For anybody who wants to be a sideline reporter or a journalist in the future, that is not the thing to do. You shouldn't be worried about airtime. You should be worried about being accurate and representing what a person says accurately.
And if you have access to The Athletic, there's a great piece from Richard Deitch, who interviewed multiple sideline reporters about this, most specifically Laura Oakman, who's a colleague at Fox, who has an organization called Galvanize, where she mentors young female sportscasters, and it's just a great read. So if you get that opportunity, take advantage of it. Coming up, Mizzou and Florida tomorrow night at Faurot Field. The 9th-ranked Tigers are an 11.5-point favorite over the unranked Gators, and we're going to talk to Mizzou running back Cody Schrader next on 101 ESPN.
You can
the 7. Schrader, number 7, in for the touchdown.
Hey, Kurt, we want to get Cody 20 more yards. Okay, get 20 more yards. It's all purpose, so it doesn't matter if it's run or pass. It's 20 yards from a school record. Told them. Okay, if they don't want it, that's fine. You can't go?
We didn't build this team off chasing records, so.
Go get it, man.
Welcome back to the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brooke Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Randy Carriger. Kerry is not with us as we get a chance to talk to Cody Schrader, Mizzou running back, who had a big game last week against Tennessee and has had a pretty busy media week as well. Cody, thanks so much for the time. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, what a game it was against Tennessee. And as you've had a chance to reflect now, and it's only a couple of days, but what do you think of yourself after that game?
Yeah, I thought it was a great just team performance in general. You know, I wouldn't be able to do what I do if it wasn't for the big man up front and everybody else blocking and just the game plan in general. So, yeah, I really haven't got to soak it up too much. You know, it's a pretty fast turnaround with having to, getting to play Florida this week. So just kind of really focused on that.
And I did want to ask you about the 200-100, the 200 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving. What was your reaction? When did you hear that you had accomplished something that no SEC player had ever done, and how did you react to it?
Yes, I really didn't even know throughout the whole game what was really going on. I was just so locked into the moment. And then it wasn't really till after the game. I think when Luther scored that last touchdown, somebody came up to me and, said you had this type of game. And after that, I was kind of blown away because, during the game, it didn't feel that way. But so, yeah, it was definitely just really cool, definitely a special moment.
Well, Cody, that was a very special moment. And another moment that I thought was just really amazing afterwards is your teammates lifting you up and carrying you off the field. Describe the feelings in that moment.
Yeah, it was definitely surreal. Just having the brotherhood and the friendships that I've made since I've been here, and just seeing that moment and everybody kind of lifting me up and, cheering me on and stuff like that was just definitely an incredible, special moment and something, I'll get to, reflect on for the rest of my life.
Well, Cody, we've talked a lot about it as you're reflecting on your journey here with Mizzou. We just love your story, going from D2 to the SEC, being a walk-on last year. So just tell us first, how did that transition, and what was that transition like going from D2 to the SEC?
It was definitely hard. I think it was just more terrifying, just coming from, a D2 school to playing in the best league in college football. Definitely was, terrifying and scary in the beginning. But once I got here and I got to be around the guys and around the coaches and really get through spring practice and stuff like that, I really just kind of thought I deserved it and I thought I belonged, just kind of with the work that I put in and started little glimpses of, showed me that, hey, you can play here, you can do it. So, yeah, it was definitely, not just all roses and rainbows during the beginning of the process, a lot of dark, moments. And, you can get in, dark places in your own head. And I was living by myself when I first got here, didn't really know anybody. But definitely worked out for the best.
Cody Schrader with us on 101 ESPN. And you mentioned that at one point you finally realized, hey, I belong. I can do this in the SEC. Was there a game or a moment that you remember where you told yourself that?
Yeah, I think the moment that really sticks out to me the most is just the spring game when I first got here. I got to come in the third and fourth quarters, at the end of the spring game. And I had some success running the ball, and I thought I played pretty well. And then after that, we had film the next day, and our running back coach, Coach Loop, looked at me and was just like, "You can play here, you belong." And with him saying that and just feeling how genuine he was in that moment, that just sparked a confidence in me. It was like, okay, there's no more self-doubt. Now it's time to really, really go to work. And that's kind of what I did because I know the guys that he's been around. I know the places where he's been. And, coaching Tyler Beatty, Larry Roundtree, and the other guys that he's been around, he's seen, greatness and he's seen really good running backs. And for him to just say that I can play here truly meant a lot to me.
Cody, why did you decide to choose Mizzou? I know obviously it could be a little bit closer to home and family, but was there any other reasons?
Yeah, because I didn't do it out of high school. I had a preferred walk-on at Ole Miss, and I was too scared, just being completely honest, just with walking on. And I don't think I had the confidence then. And when this opportunity presented itself, I was like, you can't, so you can't be scared of this opportunity as well, because this might be the last one that there is. So then at that moment, I just said, I'm going no matter what. Didn't talk to Drink, never talked to him in my life, didn't talk to one person on staff here, just showed up and was hoping for the best.
Well, and Drinkwitz has been singing your praises. What did he say to you when you did come to Mizzou?
I can't remember. I think when we first got there, we had all the early enrollees like Luther and them. I got to come in with that group. And basically, I remember him coming up to the table. I could tell he probably didn't really know who I was and stuff like that. You know, he's just, hey, good to see you, good to have you here. And, you know, but I could tell he didn't really know who I was yet. So that's kind of like my first memory that I remember of him saying something to me.
All right, this is going to sound like a weird question, like the coach didn't know you yet, but do you feel like with your team that America doesn't quite know you yet? Here you are, 9th in the country, according to the college football playoff rankings. Do you feel like you've worked your way into the consciousness as you are on your phone and look at what's going on, or do you feel like you still have to, as a team, introduce the Tigers to America?
I think every week we have to show up, because I think even with the success we've had, you know, there's a lot of people who even last week didn't believe we were going to beat Tennessee. And I think this week there's probably still doubters, maybe who think we won't beat Florida or won't, you know, be in the New Year's Six Bowl or whatever, you know, doubts that they have of this team. And, you know, I think it's kind of been the mantra since, you know, Mizzou has been in the SEC is that it's like, do they really belong? And I think for this team, it's just showing up every day to work and replicating the process and proving to everybody in this locker room that we do belong and that everyone on this team belongs. Like we have a fantastic team of a bunch of talent and hard workers that we belong in this league, and we belong as one of the best teams in the country.
Cody, is that a conversation that, well, I'll put it this way. What are the conversations like with what we're talking about in your locker room and on the practice field?
Yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing is that and basically just goes unspoken. Like everybody kind of understands that with, you know, Drink's the main one who puts that mindset every Tuesday into the team. And, you know, it's different mindsets each week for each game because each game is different. But I think that's the cool thing about this team is that everybody is kind of just unspoken. Everybody just goes to work, and you can just look in each other's eyes and know that we mean business and that, you know, we're going to put the best product possible out on the field on Saturdays.
Well, Cody, it seems like you really have relished the opportunity to really prove people who you are and who you are in this league. But going back to Eli Drinkwitz, do you remember the moment that he kind of started recognizing you a little bit more?
I really think it was just kind of, you know, like this year. You know, he definitely recognized me last year by, you know, making the decision to start me game one and, you know, really allowed me to play throughout, you know, last season. But, you know, I think even from my standards, I didn't play well last year. I didn't think I was the best back that I could be last year. You know, I didn't think I helped. I think I let down the team in some aspects last year just from a personal standard. So I think this year when I came into it, I was like, now I need to prove him right for putting me out there on the field and taking a chance on me. And just as I continually just kind of performed in the consistency that I had, I think the biggest one was when I was voted team captain. You know, I think that was when it was like, okay, this team believes in me. The coaches believe in me because if I'm a captain, that means a lot. And I think after I was voted captain, that really is kind of what you guys were talking about.
You know, Cody Schrader, I watched you last year, and I thought you were terrific. So how do you feel like you let the team down, and what's different this year?
Yeah, I think I didn't do a good job of being explosive like I have been this year. I think there was a lot of holes that I've missed. I think my vision wasn't great. I think the game was just I think it was getting in my head a lot more last year. I think I wasn't breaking the tackles that I knew that I could break. And I think, you know, just how hard the O-line and everybody else was working around me. I don't think I was putting myself in the best position for the team's success. And that, like I said, that's nothing that the team said to me. You know, no one ever said that to me on the team, but that was just like my personal evaluation from watching myself from last season. And
it's an interesting thing in this sport. You can be a fast guy, but not play fast. Is that what you're talking about there? Because you are playing faster.
Yeah, 100%. I think when I was at Truman, I didn't really understand preparation. It was more like just go out there and run football. Same in high school, you know, it's just like run the football. And when I got here and you're going up against DCs and schemes that, you know, are NFL guys and, you know, guys who are just geniuses and schemes and different defenses and stuff like that. So I truly had to learn how to prepare. And I think becoming best friends with Brady Cook, our quarterback, has helped me tremendously because now the amount of film that him and I study is insane, but it has allowed me to see the game through a quarterback's eyes. It has allowed me to, for the game just to slow down. And you always hear people talk about the more film you watch, the slower the game is. And I was like, there's no way. But I really bought into it this year, and it has tremendously just kind of slowed down for me because now the stuff I see on tape, I'm seeing on the field, and it's like, oh, I've seen this before. So now it just allows you to kind of just play faster.
Cody, we've had so much fun watching you this season, but also Brady Cook, as you mentioned there, and Luther Burden. The St. Louis connections have been so much fun to watch. What have you seen from Brady Cook and Luther this season?
Yeah, I think I've seen from Brady is just a true leader, a competitor. He has an edge about him that's like I think a lot of people might not be able to see unless you're around him, because he's a true gamer and he loves this university. This was his dream all growing up, was to be a quarterback here. And I think just how much time he truly puts into it is just incredible, and it has excelled my game. And a lot of my success has come from studying film with him and just being out there with him, just because he has kind of taught me what it takes and the preparation level that it takes to be successful in this league. And, Luther Burden, he's the best football player I've ever been around, I've ever seen. But I think the biggest thing with Luther this year is that he has stepped up into a leadership role. Like before every game, right before we go in, before coming out for the actual game, he always gives a speech. And, like, that's something that maybe a lot of guys don't have on their team, is the best player trying to motivate the team and saying what he wants, because he's so quiet. But then on game day, it's like his personality comes out and people can see who Luther Burden is, and that's just a competitor, best receiver in college football, and he's just a tremendous dude. And I know he's going to be a captain next year. I know he's going to continue to just excel in the leadership role, and I think that's something I've been so proud about with Luther, is just his leadership ability and what he's been able to accomplish on this team.
And Cody, Brooke mentioned the St. Louis connection, literally half of your offense and 20% of your roster, St. Louis people. How much St. Louis pride is there on that Tiger roster right now?
Oh, there's a lot of St. Louis pride, and it's something that that we definitely hold heavy to our hearts, and because we know that every time we step out on the field, we're all from the same place. We all grew up in the same city, and that every week that we're trying to put on for our city, we're trying to, represent our families and everything that we came from and grew up with. And there's definitely a lot of St. Louis pride for sure.
You mentioned family there. What has it been like? Have your family and your parents been able to come out and watch you play and see all this season?
Yeah, they haven't missed a game, which has been awesome. My two sisters, Destiny and Brittany, haven't missed a game since Truman. My dad hasn't missed a game since Truman. My mom hasn't missed a game. So just seeing that and their support, because they've been with me throughout the entire journey, and just for them to experience this level of football, these different places, and they got to go to Georgia, and we've always watched these games growing up, and now get to actually be there and watch their son and brother play on the field is just, I know, a moment that they or an experience that they definitely appreciate.
So, Cody, once this season is over and you get back to St. Louis and you're hungry for a wing, where are you going to head?
Yeah, I think I'm going to head to Fenton Bar and Grill. Their wing and their sauce that they got over there is fantastic. I think it's the best in St. Louis, so definitely Fenton Bar and Grill. That's
where the Cody Schrader fan club is, and we are big fans of the Fenton Bar and Grill here, and we're big fans of you, Cody. Congratulations on the way things are going. Continued success as you guys handle Florida and then Arkansas, and then hopefully, like you said, a New Year's Six bowl game. That would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Great. Have a great day. Thanks so much for the time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Cody Schrader, and oh, by the way, Fenton Bar and Grill will be showing the Mizzou Florida game tomorrow night. It'll be all Mizzou fans. It'll be a great time tomorrow night. Fenton Bar and Grill, plenty of seating and plenty of great TVs, and that is Cody Schrader's place, Fenton Bar and Grill, when he comes back to St. Louis. Best trash wings in town, by the way.
Ooh.
Try their signature golden sauce tomorrow.
Can they bring in some more food again? Because that was delicious.
I will work on that. Yeah, I think we can make that happen.
We got a lot of food that comes in here, and when one is trying to do a cleanse and a diet. That's not good.
This isn't the season for this, CD.
It's always season. It's actually not a diet. It's a lifestyle. So when you're trying to have a lifestyle, all of these outside factors, it's bad enough that you get Halloween candy, Thanksgiving dinner, and then Christmas dinner. It's like, oh, this is the holy trinity of not trying to keep your weight down. October, November, and December.
Coming up, we need a fighter for the fight. Kerry won the fight yesterday, so we need a fighter. If you want to text us with the word fight and your name, just text to 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. The fight is next on 101 ESPN. If you're talking this weekend about your home and you say, you know what, we need to downsize or we need to upsize, I've got the person to help you sell your current home so that you can do that. It's Gloria Liu, and the market's still in your favor. Between now and the holidays, the next month and a half, is the last prime time of the year to sell your home to receive the most money. And Gloria Liu says you can't time the market, but you can sell your home in the months that are statistically the most profitable, and that time is now. Now, Gloria's name is her promise, and really says it all. Your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria's mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, guaranteed. Does your agent compare? Gloria has solutions for every type of home seller. If you want a fast sale with no hassles, well, Gloria's 24-hour cash offer solution is a great option to consider. No showings, no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date. You always get the highest cash offer bid from Gloria's database of buyers in what she calls her cash offer bid box. Call Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. If you're selling your home, you can also visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues last night getting beat up by the Sharks, losing 5-1, and they got beat up, and they didn't score that goal until extremely late. Pavel Buchnevich did score, though, and Robert Thomas did get an assist, which means that the opening drive did not jinx his point streak. Blues back in action tomorrow, facing off for another late game against the Los Angeles Kings. 9:30 p.m. puck drop means 8:30 p.m. pregame show right here on 101 ESPN. And last night, kicking off week 11 of the NFL season, it was Thursday Night Football with a 34-20 win by the Ravens over the Bengals. Both teams had injury issues as Joe Burrow leaves for the Bengals, and Mark Andrews, tight end for the Ravens, got knocked out of the game as well. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I am Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Tyler. Tyler, how you doing?
I'm good today. How are you guys?
Doing wonderful. Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
Oh, I guess so.
All right, here we go. Which active quarterback holds the NFL record for consecutive games with a rushing touchdown as a QB with 6 straight? Is it Joshua Dobbs, Jalen Hurts, or Justin Fields?
Let's go Jalen Hurts.
When the AHL first expanded to a 2-conference 4-division setup for the 1995-96 season, which division did the Blues play in? Was it Smythe, Adams, or Patrick?
Ooh. Mike?
The stripping of Oakland sports is now complete, with the city having lost all 4 major leagues. When the Golden Seals left in 1976, which city did the team play in? Cleveland, Atlanta, or Dallas?
Let's go Atlanta.
Excuse me. The Angels have won 6 AL MVP awards since 2000, the most of any AL franchise across that stretch. 5 of those wins are owned by Trout and Ohtani, but who won the 6? Was it Torrey Hunter, Vladimir Guerrero, or Garrett Anderson?
Go Vlad Guerrero.
All right, we'll double check our score and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Tyler, how you feel?
Oh, man, that's a lot tougher.
It usually is. That's the comment we get from most listeners. It's easier in your car, but the pressure of not having a lot of time and having to answer is difficult. And then, for some reason or another, when the contestant gets on here, it's never any questions that they know, usually.
Hey, I could have used some Steeler questions.
There you go. Here we go. Randy, say hello to Tyler.
Tyler, good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Randy?
I'm doing well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. We do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, Randy, you ready?
Ready.
Which active quarterback holds the NFL record for consecutive games with a rushing touchdown with 6 straight?
6 straight games with a rushing touchdown by a quarterback, huh?
Yes.
It would seem like it would be Lamar Jackson. I can't imagine that there would be. It's not Mahomes. I'm just trying to think of the run. I don't think it's Deshaun, who's kind of not active at the moment. Since Lamar is the most prolific runner, I guess it comes down to Lamar and Hurts. Maybe I'll go with Hurts. Somebody else is setting records for rushing and passing touchdowns. Let me just race through here. I don't think it's Kyler Murray. NFC East, no. NFC North, not feeling it. NFC South, probably not. AFC North, Lamar would be the one. AFC South, probably not. AFC East, Mac Jones? No. Josh Allen would be a possibility too, I guess. And then AFC West. I'm going to. I'm just going to go with Lamar here. Lamar Jackson, by the way. Final answer.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
When the NHL first expanded to a 2-conference 4-division setup for the 1995-96 season, which division did the Blues play in?
1995-96. 4 divisions.
No. 1975-76. What are you?
Oh, 75-76.
Yeah.
Okay.
When the NHL expanded.
We were in the Chuck Norris division. The Norris. We were. That was fun. That was black and blue. That was great. We were in the Norris.
Do you want to read the question again?
Did I say? I'm sorry. I might have said 95. It is 1975 and 96.
75 and 96.
Excuse me.
75
yes.
and 76.
That was a long season.
Yeah. One of the longest. We don't really talk about it enough. Yeah. We don't talk about it enough. Okay. Just wanted to double check. Didn't even realize I said the 90s. 90s on my mind.
The stripping of Oakland sports is now complete, with the city having lost all 4 major leagues. When the Golden Seals left after the 1976 season, which city did the team play in?
They became the Cleveland Barons, Kerry. They became the Cleveland Barons, and then after a couple of years in Cleveland, actually merged with the Minnesota North Stars, stayed in Minnesota for a while, and then became the Dallas Stars.
Oh.
So California Seals, California Golden Seals, Cleveland Barons, Minnesota North Stars, Dallas Stars. There you go.
I like the Minnesota North Stars.
That was good. So was the California Golden Seals. White skates. Charlie Finley on the team. Yeah.
Final question. The Angels have won 6 AL MVP awards since 2000, the most of any AL franchise across that stretch. 5 of those wins are owned by Trout and Ohtani, but who won the 6?
Since what year?
Since 2000. Since 1995. No, I'm kidding.
It's got to be Vladimir Guerrero. I'm just hoping that he's after 2000. I think he is. So I will go, just right off the top of my head, with Vladimir Guerrero.
Fancy.
And we have another tie.
Oh.
Third? Is this the third tie of the week?
Is it? I thought this was the second.
Randy
did you have a tiebreaker? Yeah, Randy had a tiebreaker earlier this week.
Oh.
Kerry had a tiebreaker yesterday. And so, which he won by the skin of his teeth, quite literally. And now Randy Carricker with a third straight tiebreaker. Tyler, if you're listening, you know the rules. Let's go over it again. I'm going to read out the question. You will then have Randy will then have a moment to write down his answer. As soon as he has shown us his answer, you will get a chance to answer give us your answer audibly, and then Randy Carricker will give his answer, show it as well on the camera, and then whoever's closest to the pin is going to be the winner of this whole shebang. Tyler, do you understand the whole shoot? I was going to say shooting match, and I said shebang at the last moment. Dang it. Tyler, do you understand the rules?
Yep, I'm all good.
Randy, are you good?
Yeah, I think so, yep.
All right. One person who did not win an MVP for the Angels in his time there was Albert Pujols, but he did finish his career with 703 home runs. How many of those did he hit in a Cardinals uniform? Albert Pujols, 703 career home runs. What is the Cardinals' home run total in his career? What is the Cardinals' home run total in his career? Randy Carricker has shown all of us.
Okay. It was waving. I couldn't tell if that was what the second number was.
I was seeing 5 numbers, and I was like, Randy, very talented. I think you're a little over, but no, but I now see his real answer.
Okay,
Randy, Tyler, what is your guess?
405.
Tyler guessed 405. Randy Carricker, what is your guess, sir?
I guessed 469. Matthew.
All right. I'm going to pull out a calculator. I got to do a little math here, Carrie. We're going to do a little bit of math here, and we have a winner in today's fight. Do we have another tiebreaker win for the house, or does Average Joe take this one in overtime? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
I should have made you do the reverse math. I should have asked how many Angels home runs he had. I bet you don't get that right on the freaking button.
I would have.
How many Cardinal home runs? But would he have? But in the moment, would he have done it? Would he have been able to do 703 minus 469? I don't know. I think it would have been fun to watch it on camera.
I think it is.
But anyway, Randy, you simply have the right answer. How many home runs did he hit in a Cardinals uniform?
469, sir.
So
on the nose.
244 with the Angels.
That's pretty
simple
simple
math right now.
Yeah. It takes that long.
I'm sorry, Tyler. You hit it right on the jack. You know what, Tyler? If you want to tell everyone that you talked to about this fight that this one's my fault, you can blame it on me.
Alrighty.
Let's go through the questions. Let's go through the answers. Which present-day quarterback holds the NFL record for consecutive games with a rushing touchdown as a quarterback? It is Justin Fields who set it last year with a 6-game run. Joshua Dobbs knocking on the door. He currently has a 4-game stretch going into this weekend. When the NHL first expanded to a 2-conference, 4-division setup for the 75-76 season, the Blues played in the Smythe division. The Red Wings were over in the Norris division. Eventually, they would be in the same division, but not right off the rip. Stripping of Oakland sports now complete. The city having lost all 4 major leagues. When the Golden Seals left in 76, they did in fact become the Cleveland Barons, who the Blues in their career, I randomly came across this yesterday, the Blues in their time that the Cleveland Barons, short period of time, had a 70% point percentage against the Cleveland Barons.
That's pretty good.
Which is second in the entire history of the Blues. They have like a 75% point percentage against the Seattle Kraken to start that franchise. The Angels have won 6 AL MVP awards since 2000, the most of any AL franchise across that stretch. 5 of those wins are owned by Trout and Ohtani, but is in fact Vladimir Guerrero, who won in 2004, his first year with the Angels. He is number 6. Do you, Randy, just off the top of your head, can you name the other franchises in the AL that have 3 MVPs since 2000?
Since 2000, 3 MVPs. I would say the Jonkeys.
Yes, that's one.
How many are there?
There's 2.
I would say, let's see, Poppy had one. You know who? Detroit, probably.
3 in a row.
Yep.
Miguel, and then Verlander.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you so much, Tyler, for joining the fight and joining the show today.
Yep, you guys have a good one.
You too. Thank you very much. Good to have him with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up next, the NCAA Weekend Preview, MIZ, coming your way on 101 ESPN.
Something had to happen. I mean, 7 days ago, they were taking litigation to get a temporary restraining order so he could coach. And now, less than 24 hours before the hearing, they pull it back and say, nah, we don't want it. That tells me a couple things. Number one, Kev, they feel like they can't win. Because I don't know of anybody that has a winning lottery ticket that's going to tear it up and walk away. Number two, they don't want Tony Petitti and the Big Ten digging any deeper into what's going on in Michigan. And so I think the powers that be got together and said, hey, can we handle and deal with this 3-game suspension? are we going to be able to move efficiently and run our program? And they agreed and said yes, and so they dropped it.
That's ESPN's Booger McFarland on the heels of Jim Harbaugh and Michigan dropping their complaint against the Big Ten, and the Big Ten has agreed to not investigate anymore. What I have not read is whether or not the NCAA is still investigating Jim Harbaugh and Michigan. And I don't necessarily agree with Booger McFarland there, because the ruling of the Big Ten, they said it, they put it in writing, was this is not a punishment of Jim Harbaugh. This is a punishment of Michigan, and Harbaugh is the face of the program. Harbaugh could have very easily gone into a courtroom today and said, why are they punishing me? Why wouldn't they punish the athletic director? Why wouldn't they punish the defensive or offensive coordinators? Not that he would throw those guys under the bus, but why am I the one that is missing time because of a rule break by the University of Michigan? Now, in terms of not wanting the Big Ten to dig any deeper into what's going on, I can understand that. And they really don't need Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines on Sunday. They are on Saturday. The big one's going to be Ohio State, and they would love to have Jim Harbaugh there. But Sherrone Moore has shown that he can be a head coach. I said when this ruling came down from the Big Ten that if I were Michigan, I would take it and run. Yeah. And I think that's ultimately what they decided is, hey, if we can get out of this with our coach missing just 3 games on the sideline, that's totally cosmetic. Isn't it, Kerry?
Yes. It's a slap on the wrist. It's something to say we did something, but at the same time, we don't want to punish him too bad. I think the NCAA and Big Ten understand if Michigan says we have evidence that there are multiple programs that do the same thing you are accusing us of doing, and if you punish us too harshly, we will open that up and let everyone see it. I think that the Big Ten said, oh, we don't really want that issue, but we do have to do something. So the suspension of 3 games only on Saturdays. That's the most important part to remember in this situation is he's still allowed to coach through the entire week, Sunday through Friday, he's with the team. It's just on Saturday, on game day, he's not there. So you're able to implement all of the details, make sure all of the things are clicking and running on all cylinders prior to Saturday. Now, there are things that head coaches need to do during the game, but if you have competent staff and competent assistants, they can make those adjustments in game as well.
And I want to make one point, Brooke. Last year in the semifinal game where they got crushed by TCU, one of the things that a head coach does on game day is decide, okay, are we going to go for it on 4th and 1? And they did. Remember, on their first drive, they got stopped, and TCU came back down the field and went through them like a hot knife through butter. Yeah. All they needed to do, and Harbaugh's personality has always been, let's take the points. Let's get the field goal. I would think a guy like Sherrone Moore will be more likely to not go for it on 4th and 1 and take the points. And it's not like Harbaugh is infallible in being on the sideline on a Saturday afternoon.
So where does he go? Is he just at home, hanging out, watching on TV?
Listen,
does he go to a bar, hang out?
It's legal, but I'm sure at halftime or sometime during the game, there is some type of communication. I would. If I'm able to do it, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I would have to believe that he has, whether it's home or a vacation spot. One time, Gary Pinkel got suspended for a game for a DWI, and he had a house in the Ozarks, and he and a couple of people just went and watched on the big screen at his home in the Ozarks, and Mizzou rolled. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. I would have to believe that Harbaugh is going to be in a comfortable spot.
Probably very comfortable. So does he travel with the team, or he just has to stay back?
I don't know.
Can he be in a hotel in the same area?
I don't think he can travel with the team. Okay. I don't think he can. I don't think he can. Well, that's a very good question. I mean, I wonder if Friday night, if it's just sidelines, meaning he can travel with the team, do all of the pregame, things you do, whether it's Friday night and Saturday morning leading up to the game, and then on Saturday he's just not on the sideline because it is just a sideline ban. So if that's a very good question. Is he actually in the building? I
don't think he can be in the building.
Okay, well,
but he was in a hotel room last week.
Yeah.
But he didn't know yet when he was in that. He didn't know. He didn't find out until Friday or Saturday, the day of. He didn't find out. So he would have traveled with the team. But I wonder if he travels. They play at Maryland, I think.
They do, and they are a 19-point favorite.
That's not a problem.
Yeah, so they should be all right. Mizzou, by the way, that line back to 11. It had gone up to 11 and a half for the Tigers. Mizzou an 11-point favorite over Florida. for the game 6:30 tomorrow night at Faurot Field. It should be a lot of fun and a crazy atmosphere at Faurot Field. And I always like to look at this time of year at some of the lines. They don't even have a line for Alabama and Tennessee Chattanooga.
Oh, well,
Oh, they're playing the Mocks?
Yeah.
Probably is.
Oh, how about that?
What do you think?
30,
who do you like?
30 points.
Do they not have a line because Chattanooga's just so dominant?
I don't think that's what it is.
That might be it. Bro.
You think
It's
so?
possible.
Yeah.
No, probably not.
Penn State at 20.5 points.
I was like, I haven't paid attention to the
Probably not.
Mocks in a while, but I don't think that they're considered dominant.
Ole Miss is a 37.5 point favorite over Louisiana Monroe. Let's see if there's any other fun
Dominance
lines.
is relative in
Louisiana.
college football, Brooke.
Yeah, that's
You're just beating
true.
your conference, you're doing fine.
And then you get to play Alabama, and you look terrible.
Yeah. Georgia is a 10-point favorite over Tennessee.
Oh,
What do you think?
how the Vols have fallen, huh?
Yeah, it didn't take long. Oh.
It is true. Yes, it is very, very true, especially in the way that Mizzou dominated Tennessee. They get to, and I think everybody might look a little bit better than Tennessee just at this moment. It's okay.
Coming up, a quick rush hour reset here on 101 ESPN.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
It is 9:06. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler.
The things we see and hear, man.
Yeah, it's amazing.
This is
It's amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. The Sharks beat the Blues last night 5-1. The Blues back in action tomorrow night as they continue their West Coast trip, and then they'll also play Sunday in Southern California. Thursday night football, Ravens over the Bengals 34-20. No word yet on the status of the wrist of Joe Burrow. That's the big story coming out of the game. That and the Ravens. When the Ravens lose, they beat themselves.
Yeah.
The Ravens still haven't been beaten by anybody.
No, they got 3 losses on the year, but again, those 3 losses are games where they lost to Indianapolis where the dang on field goal kicker for Indianapolis was kicking like 40-yard by 50-yard.
4 50-yarders.
Which was amazing. You lost to the Steelers, which I don't know how the hell you did that. You gave up a touchdown late in that game. And then you lost to the Browns last week in a game where you were up with 8 to 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter by more than 10 points, and you ended up losing that game. They are a really good team that just has to figure out how to seal the deal and close the games out. And yesterday, the injury to Joe Burrow, that's going to put the Cincinnati Bengals in a really, really difficult position to climb out of. Already, 5 losses on the season. They are going to struggle to get out of this. So, yeah, the Ravens are one of the elite teams in the AFC.
That's why I was saying this is the year of the backup quarterback, because that has been the biggest story of just these injuries that keep happening this season with teams starting quarterbacks. But going back to the Joe Burrow issue, I know that we were discussing this earlier. Will there be any repercussions for the Bengals for possibly hiding this injury? And if so, what would those repercussions be?
Because they're the Bengals, they'll probably get a severe fine. They never did anything to the Patriots when they did that, but that was the Patriots, right?
That is. When you are messing with the lines in terms of betting, because if Joe Burrow, and again, if Joe Burrow has a hand injury, he's still going to play in the game. It's probably going to go in a tag with a tag of questionable. He's not going to be doubtful going into that game, despite how you could tell the hand was swollen. He was dealing with some pain, and again, maybe it's nerve, maybe it's just the wrist. It looked like some type of shooting pain that shot through him when he tried to throw the ball. But you're messing with gambling and money.
Right.
And Joe Burrow being injured, I'm sure brings that line, changes that line drastically from where it was. I don't know what the line was going into the game. If it was 3, maybe it goes to 5. Maybe it goes to 6 because of the injury and really knowing what he was dealing with. So, yeah, they should be fined for that.
Yeah, and when it happened, I think they fined the Patriots or Belichick a nominal amount, $100,000 or something like that. Oh. And remember, he put like 32 or 33 people on the injury list the next week.
Yes, I do remember that. Everyone.
Yeah, so they literally had somebody with a sore pinky or something like that.
Entire team.
Yeah. Okay. Baseball, the 2 MVPs, the cappers of awards week were named, and no surprise, the unanimous National League MVP is Ronald Acuna of the Braves. The unanimous American League MVP, Shohei Ohtani, formerly of the Angels. Is there, granted, Shohei Ohtani won't be able to pitch next year because of Tommy John surgery. But isn't it great to be an MVP walking into free agency?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure he wishes that he was fully ready to pitch, because then think about the numbers he would have gotten this offseason if he was able to pitch. What do you guys think, just projection-wise?
500?
I'm thinking 520. And here's what I'm going to do next year. I'm going to go next year, I'm going to give him $30 or $35 million. Because he's the best hitter, right? Mm-hmm. And then after that, because he's the best pitcher, I am going to go, because he should get 40 as a pitcher, so I'm going to go $70 million a year for 6 years. So the first year, he gets 30, and then 7 times 6 is 420, so I'm at 450. And then that last year, player option or a mutual option, offer another 60, or 70, so you can get him up to 520 if he wants it.
You're good at math, Randy.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Yeah, thanks.
That's beautiful.
So, he's got to get over $500 million.
That's so crazy, but he deserves it. And what do you guys think about if he goes to the Cubs? Because that rumor mill is still cool. Going.
It's going to. We're going to have troubles.
Wouldn't it be fun? But wouldn't it be fun, though, to have him come to town 4, 5, 6 times a year?
That would be.
Yes.
I mean, the game that he was here last year, right?
Yeah,
it was pretty.
It was awesome.
It was packed. There was people showing up. It was a good turnout, and it's going to be. But if he's at the Cubs, man, listen, Cardinal fans, I know you love your team. I love our team. We are Cardinal lifers. They better get it together. If he ends up in Chicago and these teams in the blueprint for the Cardinals for decades, we're going to win our division. We're going to win our division. Mm-hmm. It was much easier when you played more divisional games. That number has shrunk. You're not playing as many divisional games.
Right.
And the teams in your division are getting better. How in the hell are you going to win your division? The first time where you had an opportunity where the schedule shifted, you finished dead last in the division. it's going to be tough if all the teams around you are getting better and you're saying we're going to stay with the same philosophy, the same mindset that has allowed us to win 11 championships in our history. Hey, you might, maybe think that because the times have changed, because there is no longer a shift, because you no longer play in a division where you're going to play those teams as many times as you have in the past, you might think that the philosophy needs to be shifted as well. Maybe,
you got to change
not.
with the times. When trends are happening, you got to follow the new trends so you're not constantly behind.
Right, and the Cardinals at this point are, unfortunately. And when I was a kid, when I started going to games, riding the Redbird Express by myself down to games during the 70s, Cardinals won, starting like 1972, 75 games, 81, 86, 82, 72, 83, 69, 86, 74. They were pretty mediocre during the 70s. So I would go to watch Mike Schmidt. I'd go to watch Steve Carlton pitch. I would go to watch Willie Stargell. I would go to watch the Dodgers because they had the infield of Say and Russell and Lopes and Garvey. It wasn't necessarily to see the Cardinals, although the Cardinals did have some compelling players, and they were mildly competitive. But they had Rocc, and for the first half of the decade, they had Gibson, and Keith Hernandez was a really good player, and they always had young players, but they weren't a major threat to win the division. Well, that's what we're heading into, and that's why I think it'd be cool if the Cardinals could have a guy like Ohtani in their division. Because right now, I see no reason to believe that the Cardinals are going to be dominant like we just talked about within the division. I could see them being a 500-type team for the next 4, 5, 6 years.
Which is unacceptable.
It is in this town. So what do? If you're a baseball fan, you're going to see somebody else's best players.
Yeah.
That to me, if that continues to be the philosophy, and again, that was the philosophy going into last year, we just got to win the division. You finish dead last. You might want to understand that you got to play some other teams as well.
Yeah.
Because again, the schedule has changed. It is not as easy to win the division when you're not playing your divisional opponents as many times as you have in the past. So if you want to be a good baseball team, if you don't want fans only showing up to see Shohei Ohtani or Ellie De La Cruz or all of the other guys, O'Neal Cruz, if you don't want them to just show up on those games, you better figure it out.
And the world has changed because we used to say, okay, and this was in the 80s, but okay, it's Joaquin Andujar against Fernando Valenzuela. I'm going to watch that pitching pairing, but we don't go to watch pitching pairings anymore because pitchers only last 5 innings.
Yeah.
So it's a different world.
It is.
That is your rush hour reset. Can I give you 1 minute here? I'm going to do 1 minute. Okay. So Jack Buck told this great story. Cardinals playing the Mets in a doubleheader in New York, Shea Stadium. During the first game, a woman's date jumps from the second deck outside to Shea Stadium to his death. The police come and investigate for the last couple of hours of the game, and it's the Cardinals and the Mets. The police are investigating. They complete their investigation. They ask the young lady who was the companion of the person who jumped if she wanted to have a ride home to her residence in New York. And she said, no, I'm going to stick around and watch Seaver pitch the second game.
Oh, wow. Whoa.
Those were the days.
That wasn't really, really a good friend.
I guess so.
Oh, my goodness.
Seaver was good.
It can't have been that good, man.
Joe Vitale next on 101 ESPN.
Joey Vitale views things a little differently. Just imagine how he looks at hockey. Whoa. This is The View from Vitale, brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
To the West Coast where Joe Vitale joins us. The Blues fell last night, 5-1 to the Sharks, so we don't necessarily need to talk about that. Joey V, did you guys stay overnight in San Jose, or did you move to Southern California?
Hey, Randy, good morning. We are in Southern California. We got out last night, and we got in about 1:30, 1:32-ish. So it'd be a good practice day here in Southern California. We're staying near the beach for 5 days. We're hunkering down for 5 days, guys. Yeah, there's 2 trips this year where we're in the same location for 5 days. We're here in L.A. for 5 before we go to Arizona and then home. And then we have one more New York swing. We're in the same hotel for 5 days. So, yes, we've made it to Southern California, and I'm happy to because it's a little bit chillier up in San Jose.
Oh, no doubt about it. Now, nobody feels sorry for people that have to travel with a sports team because you do travel charter and you do stay at the nicest hotels, but you still build up some sleep deprivation. Do you believe, Joey V, that people build up like a sleep debt that you ultimately have to pay off?
Yes, Randy, and the debt is you die about 20 years sooner in your life. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you know what? I feel bad. I feel bad saying that, but this is gonna kill me one of these days. I think it's gonna hurt the players too. It's one of those things where it is the toughest part of the job, and I say this so honestly because I talk to the players about this. You research it with athletic trainers and doctors. They're starting to find out more and more. It's such a keystone of a healthy life is consistent sleep. It's not necessarily getting 7 to 8 hours a day. It's consistently from going to bed at 8 and maybe getting up at 5 or going to bed at 10 and then of course getting up at 6. It's the rhythm of going to bed and waking up at the same time. That is the one area that the sport of hockey and sports around the world really haven't figured out as much. I mean, you look at the sport of football, it's just 1 day a week, right? So you may lose a little bit of sleep that Sunday night or some travel days, but then the rest of the week you're pretty consistent. Baseball and hockey, they're similar. Basketball, where you end up, getting back late, traveling through the night, getting up, and even when players go to bed at 2, if they sleep until 11, it's still a disruptive sleep. But yeah, to answer your question, between having 5 kids and losing as much sleep as I had, it's probably gonna catch up to me someday. But right now, I'm chipper as a penguin.
So I'm glad to hear it. I got to tell you, I did a sleep study, and my sleep doctor, Shalini Peruthi over at St. Luke's, told me that I had the worst case of sleep apnea that she'd ever seen. Oh. But my problem is that I roll around. I roll around on the bed. I can't use a CPAP machine. So you talk about dying 20 years early. I may, simply because I can't use a CPAP machine.
Hey, it's first of all, it's quality, not quantity, Randy. I like to think you're living a quality life right now. And yes, I've done one of those sleep studies as well. I was so anxious the whole night. I mean, I don't know how people sleep in those sleep studies. They put all these wires and these connections to your head and all of your heart. And I just had a rough time. And they never got clarification if I have sleep apnea. But my whole family's got sleep apnea. And my sister Maria, she just got married about 8 or 9 years ago, and right before they got officially married, she was having trouble sleeping, so she got a sleep study like weeks before she got married. Anyway, she has sleep apnea like the majority of my family, so it was just always funny. We give her trouble because on her honeymoon, she had to bring her sleep apnea machine. And, you know how that goes. I'm sure her husband, there's nothing that turns you on like your wife that throws out a sleep apnea machine down the house before you guys go to bed on your honeymoon.
All right, Joey. So I know you are a man of research, and I've been wondering this for a while. So your last name is Vitale, correct? Joey Vitale.
Yes,
and
that's it.
It's spelled in the same way as Dick Vitale. Explain it.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought this up, Karen. I wanted to get this off my chest for some time now.
Go.
I've been wanting. How much time we have?
We got as much time as you need, brother.
For you?
All right, I got. Hopefully, we got all day. I got a lot to get off my chest. Yes, it's of course, it's Vitale, which means vitality and life and vigor, and it's a great great, solid Sicilian name. My grandpa, of course, from Palermo, and there's a ton of Italis. Most of them migrated, around World War II to the States, including my grandpa on a ship, and they stopped in New York. They went through Detroit, and then they started to kind of migrate south. They actually spent a lot of time in Mexico because of people were kind of finding out they illegally came over here, so they had to retreat to Mexico, and they came back. Anyway, long story short, a beautiful name, but the E, you gotta let the E sail on it. It's like Vitale, and it's like bam. And then all of a sudden, this crazy wacko guy named Dick Vitale comes into the picture, and he's got all his energy, and I love what he does, and he's got this basketball mind, and people love his babies and his up-tempo and his just charisma and curiosity. And then, of course, I think somewhere along the line, his agent said, hey, Vitale's not working. Let's go Vitale. It's simpler. So I can't tell you how many times I go to a restaurant or, you're at Chipotle and you give them your name, or Starbucks and you look at your card and it's like, oh, Joe Vitale. I'm like, oh my God, it's Vitale. This dumb Dick Vitale screwed it all up. And unfortunately, I think it'll last the longevity of my lifetime, where people will constantly screw it up. But yes, it's Vitale, and I would imagine it's Dick Vitale too. But I don't blame Dick Vitale. I probably blame his agent. That's probably who screwed it up for us.
Joey V, you will be happy to know that none other than Frank Cusimano agrees that you pronounce your name correctly.
Oh, that's big.
And you know what? Frank Cusimano is the second greatest Italian broadcaster in all of St. Louis right now. So I would imagine that he and the second sharpest dresser. Man, he always, when we run into each other, we're always comparing suits. We're comparing whose nana's got the better meatballs. We compare a lot. It's how Italians are. We're constantly on edge. You ever know a Sicilian or an Italian who's constantly on edge? It actually goes back to It goes back to their roots, actually, especially in Sicily. So it's a mountainous region where there's not a lot of farmland, flat farmland. It's all mountains. So the biggest source for food and income was raising sheep and selling the sheep's milk and selling the sheep's cheese. Okay, if you follow me here for a minute. So these shepherds and these Sicilians in these mountains, they would have people picking off their sheep, like wolves would be killing them at night. People would be stealing them, so they had to kind of keep watch at all times. So if you ever meet a Sicilian, and people out there know Italians, and they're like, man, she is so sharp and she's so, God, just on top of things, and maybe a little sharp tongue at time or whatever. It's because of their roots. It's because they've grown up and it's in their DNA that they have to always be looking over their shoulder because somebody's always taking something from them, including their sheep back in the day.
You have answered a long-standing question we have in this studio because Matthew Rocchio, when you said what you said, he was in agreement, nodding his head. You are on spot. You are 100% accurate, according to Matthew Rocchio. Thank you for that. Now we know the answer.
And so when Matthew comes in the morning and he's just, he's always defensive, like, hey, good morning, Matthew. Like, oh, what? I'm on time. Like, no. We're all good. Hey, man, you're on time. I'm just saying good morning. Oh, good. I'm gonna make sure.
It's like you have a camera in studio watching us.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you send the printout. I sent the printout. I saw last night. Did you not get it last night? Did you guys rundown? Oh, no. I did, man. I did. Thank you.
Oh, my gosh. That is so good.
This is great.
Joey, since we're talking about that, this might be a little controversial, but I feel like I should ask you this now. Now, who has the best Italian here in St. Louis? The best Italian restaurant?
Well, Brooke, I'm going to tell you an answer. And every Italian is going to give you the same answer. Okay, so you ready for this? Every Italian is going to tell you where you can get the best Italian food. It's at their mama's house. It's at their mama's house.
Good answer.
Okay, outside of your mama's house.
All right. Now you have good follow-up question. That's why you're a good journalist, Brooke. Listen, I love Paul Manos. I think they do a terrific job. I'm a huge fan of Louis on Demond. I tell you what, if you want a really good meatball, I know Randy Carricker. I know you've been down here before. He talked about you stopping in the shop. Go to my uncle's place. Mike Vitale's got a deli in Glendale, right by the fire station there, right off Sappington Road. It's his mom's recipe. Grace, God bless her soul. She passed away about 5-6 years ago, but they have the best meatballs. I think that the one good thing about Italian though, and I mean this sincerely, you can get good Italian anywhere. It's inexpensive. It's simple. It's straightforward. It's just That's why people love it, because it's really hard to kind of screw it up. But to answer your original question, if you go to Italy and you go to any small town, you say, hey, I want a really, really good meal. Where do I go to get the best Italian around? Every local Italian will say the same thing. Not only will they tell you their mama's house, they will actually invite you probably over to their mama's house. That's how great they are over there.
All right, Joey, I got a text from Frank, and he said you do pronounce your name correctly. So Frank Cusimano co-signs with you. There we go. We got it done.
That's the first thing Frank and I agree on. That's the first thing we've ever agreed on. Yeah, and this is something really to celebrate when two Italians can agree on something. So we'll probably put a bottle of wine over this at some point.
Yeah, if Frank's listening to you, are the best Italian, best Italian in town, best dressed Italian in town.
Frank, I love you. You're my guy.
Joey, what happened last night at the beginning of the second period? Actually, the first period and beginning of the second.
I was going to say, Elvis Presley had a great quote once. He said, the truth is like the sun. You can shut it out for a long time, but eventually it's gonna reveal itself, or eventually it's gonna pop out. I mean, I'm here in my room right now. It's pitch black. It's dark because it's still early to me, but I know the sun's out there somewhere, right? And I think that for that Blues team, I think it stretches of this year. It doesn't look great, right? It looks like hey, we're missing passes. Hey, our execution's a little bit sloppy. We don't seem like we got the engine tonight. But what happens? We're able to kind of cover it up like makeup because maybe our goaltending's really solid. Maybe we're just getting a good bounce. And I think at times in hockey, like last night, you play that same kind of sloppy style, and it hurts you. And then that sun kind of reveals itself. And kind of the truth out there, the truth serum kind of pours over, where you're playing sloppy and you're not getting the backstopping that you need maybe to make those bailout saves. For Blues fans to kind of give you a flip comparison of what happened last night. A very, very popular game, obviously, that people remember very clearly is Game 7 against the Boston Bruins in the Stanley Cup Championship in 2019. If you remember that game, yes, they win, but the first period, Boston could have been up 4-0 in the first 6 minutes of that game. They were coming. They were ready. Jordan Binnington just stood on his head, and it got the Blues within striking distance, and, of course, that second goal at the end of the first really kind of solidified things. That's sometimes how it goes, right? You play sloppy, but you get the backstopping, and maybe you get a good bounce here and there, and you're off and running. And then on the flip side, things like last night happened. You kind of play that sloppy style, and it burns you, and it hurts you. And you know what? I think that you can't be fooled by the San Jose record. I talked to Braden Shen on the plane last night, and we both kind of agreed on one thing. That was a good hockey team, and you should never, ever, not to say the Blues did, but you should never, ever take any team for granted. I don't care what the record is. I don't care how poor they've been. I don't care how the analytics say it. You can't take any team for granted. It was a great hockey team they had. They had big names like Anthony Duclair, Nico Sturm, Ferrara. And Kaapo Kähkönen really stood on his head with 45 saves. So you're going to run into those every now and then. You're going to run into getting exactly what you deserve, and other times you're gonna get away with getting wins when you don't deserve them. So it kind of goes back and forth. But certainly, I think that the Blues were a little bit gun shy and embarrassed about that last night. So it's going to be a great challenge as they head into L.A. and Anaheim starting tomorrow night with a quick back-to-back within 22 hours of these Southern California teams.
Joe Vitale, I just sent you like the grossest picture of me ever. It's me, a selfie of my sleep study.
Oh, man.
It's in your phone.
It's in your phone.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it right. Oh, my God, look at that.
How
Yeah,
about
that's
that?
horrible.
Yeah, isn't that wild? It is
horrible. And we still love you. And we still love you after looking at that photo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I got one of those in my phone, too. I'm
wearing a blue shirt, by the way.
You got a St. Louis. I'm more impressed by the St. Louis. You do look tired, though, Randy.
You do look really tired.
Been up for a while. Hey, have a great time in SoCal. Enjoy yourself and enjoy the weather. Happy Thanksgiving, because we won't have an opportunity to speak to you before then. Have great. You'll be back here. I know you guys will. You and the family have a great Thanksgiving. And by the way, is it lasagna for Thanksgiving at the Vitale household?
You know how it goes, Randy. Lasagna and The Godfather on in the background every year. Just like that.
Love it. Perfect. All right. Love you. See you later. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
See you, Joe. Joe Vitale on 101 ESPN.
Yeah, got an answer. I wondered that for a while.
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked it.
And Joey Vitale.
Yeah.
Joey Vitale.
Good stuff. Coming up, it's kind of a prove-it weekend for a lot of teams in the NFL. That's coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are in the market for gutters, there's only one company to get in touch with in St. Louis, and it's Gutter Pros at gutterpros.com. They're a great St. Louis company. They can do work for you at your home or commercially as well. They can do really large gutters for your commercial building, a lot of leaf protection, and they also do things like soffit and fascia and siding. So they'll do great work for you at Gutter Pros, whatever you need done to your home in regards to the gutters or the soffit or the fascia. They're based in downtown St. Louis, and they'll work the area about 50 miles around downtown, a little bit more, and they'll provide you with a free estimate. They're very, very good at what they do. They provide lien waivers with invoices, a really strong professional staff of experienced salespeople, support staff, and installers. They use company trucks, company uniforms when they meet with you, and they'll try to respond quickly to that estimate request. Gutter Pros is run by St. Louisans. They know St. Louis. As a matter of fact, if you call for an estimate, they'll probably know the street that you're on, and they'll probably have done work in your neighborhood. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, 4.9 out of 5 stars in their reviews. Check out the website, gutterpros.com, and you can fill out the form. They tell water goes where they tell it at Gutter Pros.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night, the Blues fall to the Sharks 5-1. They're back in action tomorrow, facing off against the Los Angeles Kings. Another late start, 9:30 p.m. puck drop means an 8:30 p.m. pregame show right here on 101 ESPN. Also, last night, Thursday Night Football kicks off another week of NFL football as the Ravens beat the Bengals 34-20. In that game, Joe Burrow comes out with a wrist injury, and Mark Andrews is likely to be out for the season after his injury during the game. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
All right, it's Prove It week in the NFL for almost all the playoff hopefuls. And so which team has the most to prove? It looks like the Browns are going to be out of the hunt with the loss of Deshaun Watson. And they host the Steelers this weekend, the Steelers at Cleveland. I don't know what the Steelers really have to prove. They've proven that they can win without gaining more yardage than the opposition every week. What do they need to prove? That they can start out-gaining people, too?
That would be nice. Yeah, we can start there. We can start with some offensive prowess, some vitality, some strength on the offensive side. That would be nice.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily need it. And the Browns are down. I don't know if DTR is their third-string quarterback or the second-string quarterback. I don't know what he is because Deshaun Watson is out for the year with a shoulder injury. So I don't think that this should be a problem, but that defense in Cleveland is amazing. They're going to get after the quarterback. The Steelers have gotten better since they added Broderick Jones into the starting offensive line. They've been running the ball really well, really effectively, which is good to see. So hopefully they can continue that.
Texans against the Cardinals, and the Texans are a threat now. And if you're going to be a playoff team, you just have to beat the Cardinals. It's that simple.
You should beat the Cardinals.
Yes, you should.
You should be. You should beat them. The Cardinals aren't. They're there, right? Mm-hmm. They aren't a good enough team to do anything sufficient in the NFL or in the NFC right now. And the Texans are actually winning really good games. Again, they went down to Jacksonville earlier in the season, beat them. People were kind of like, oh, that's strange. Maybe they are. And then they actually go and beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati last weekend, which is an outstanding win for them. So, yeah, I think they are a team. And you're looking at it, this is a team that could make the playoffs from a team that was picking in the top two and three in the draft last year.
Now, a team that has a tough road in trying to prove something, and I don't do this just because you're a Titans fan, Brooke, but division games are always tough. And if you're the Jaguars and you lost last week, you have to bounce back. You can't lose a game to the Tennessee Titans, and the Titans will present them a challenge.
Hopefully they will present them a challenge. I like that you said that, Randy, because that is what I'm very hopeful for this week, is that you at least want to see the Titans challenge them. That was a terrible loss last week, and with Will Levis and company, I really hope to see more of that progression. I just want to see more creativity offensively. It feels like they are kind of lacking that right now. Of course, a lot of that has to do with the Titans offensive line. Carrie, you and I have talked about this so much. I'm so frustrated with the Titans O-line because Will Levis, the amount of just like a beating that he took in that last game, but even against the Steelers, you saw that too, and they were dropping like flies around him, and Will Levis was still going out there. So what are we doing here?
Ridiculous. They gotta. I mean, they're not a team that was expected to do much this year. No. They're on their third quarterback because they let Malik Willis start a game. He started one game, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he started one game. So they're on their third quarterback as well. Will Levis may be the answer. He had a really good showing in his first game, but
he's got to stay upright.
You got to block for him. You got to keep him clean, so that helps. But we'll see how well they play this weekend versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, I told you all earlier, I'm not sold on the Jaguars. Mm-hmm. And if they struggle in this game or if they lose this game, which I think they could possibly do, they don't present a threat for me.
Well, they're 6-3. They've got the Titans this week. Then they go to Houston. That'll be a big-time challenge. Then they get Cincinnati, probably without Joe Burrow. Then they go to Cleveland without their quarterback.
Yeah.
Then they get Baltimore, and that'll be huge. That'll be a Sunday night game, Jacksonville and with Baltimore at Jacksonville. And then they get Tampa, Carolina, and then at Tennessee to close out the season. So the schedule certainly works in the favor of the Jaguars, but they need to prove something. Yep. And clearly, Kerry is one of the people that needs to have it proven to them. Dolphins against the Raiders. I'm even with the coaching change, I'm not buying into the Raiders.
Even with that, they have looked a little bit better with Pierce, and it seems like they like Pierce better. I know that doesn't exactly win you games, but at the same time, they have been on a little bit of a roll, and the Dolphins coming off of that loss.
The Raiders are. You
not
play
there.
Above yourselves when you get a new coach, and I think that's what they've done. I think they're going to go and get the hell beat out of them by the Dolphins.
Cowboys should roll the Panthers at Carolina, right?
Yes,
they should.
No excuse for them to not to. 49ers and Bucks. Again, 49ers at home against Tampa Bay. They rolled Jacksonville last week 34-3. Niners are back. They made the changes. They fixed things during the bye week. They have Chase Young, and now they're getting pressure again from their defense, and Purdy is back, and Debo is back, and Kittle is healthy, and McCaffrey is going, and they scored 34 points without McCaffrey scoring a touchdown. 49ers are the favorites in the NFC and should be the favorites in the NFC.
They definitely are. They are a really good team. They play really well, especially when they're all healthy. they should not have a problem against the Bucs this week.
Now, here's a team with something to prove. It's the Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Jets.
That's the game I was looking at. That's the team that I think they already lost to the Jets once, and a game that they shouldn't have lost. The New York Jets are playing as well as they can despite Zach Wilson not knowing where the ball is going. But you're looking at a Buffalo Bills team that just fired their offensive coordinator, Josh Allen. You must play better. The assumption that he is not at fault for the turnovers week after week after week are killing this team. It got your OC fired. Not to his fault, because you need to take care of the football. The pass that he threw before halftime against the Broncos, the ball was so late and inside on an out route. And anybody that coaches quarterbacks, that coaches offense, that plays that position knows that that ball cannot be late, nor can it be thrown inside. It has to be thrown to the sideline, and it has to be on time. And he does this every week. He makes poor decisions with the football, and it's costing people their jobs, literally. It won't cost him his job, but it could cost Sean McDermott his job eventually. It already cost the OC. And if Sean McDermott goes, then every coach on that staff goes. You're costing people their jobs with your poor play.
And Josh gets a $20 million raise next year, Brooke.
That is insane.
It goes from $27 million to $47 million next year.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right. But what can you even do in this situation now? So you fire your OC. You can't bench Josh Allen. So where do they go from here? You just hope that things maybe get a little bit better, but it seems like Sean McDermott is going to be right out the door as soon as the season ends.
And by the way, Sean McDermott didn't do himself any favors by pushing Leslie Frazier out and taking over the defense himself either.
Well,
they've got some issues there.
I felt like Leslie was interviewed for a few head coaching jobs, and he's been coaching for a long time. And when you're searching for that head coaching job, and it's just kind of a rinse and repeat cycle, and you're not getting that opportunity, I think that was a little bit more him just being tired and wanting to step away for a little bit to reassess and re-energize himself to come back before he's able to come back.
Do you think, though, in this day and age in the NFL that, and I know there's offensive coaches, Mike McCarthy being one, Andy Reid being another, but should Sean McDermott be calling the defensive signals?
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with a coach calling offense or defense as long as it doesn't take away from their actual coaching job. Like when you look at Mike McCarthy with the Dallas Cowboys, I thought he was terrible when he wasn't calling plays because sometimes when you're the head coach and you're accustomed to calling plays, you're not as engaged. He was terrible his first year or two in Dallas, and now the decisions have been much better. But then you look on the flip side, and you have some coaches that do call it, and they don't do well.
And Eli talks about how much better he is not
there
calling the offensive plays. Right?
It just depends on the person. Some people need that to be engaged in the game. I think LaFleur does a good job. I think Sean McVay does a really good job of doing both. And then some people are incapable of doing both.
And then speaking of Sean McVay, the meh game of the week is the Seahawks at the Rams.
Not exciting whatsoever?
I wonder how many Seahawks fans will show up.
Seahawks will be there.
12th man.
Seahawks will be there.
Oh, yeah.
They're in SoFi.
It's the other one.
Right.
The Rams ain't going to be there.
No,
Rams fans ain't going to be there.
Where who? They don't have many.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's your look at the NFL Week 11. Yeah, because I'm 3-7 in fantasy. So, Week 11 coming up.
Is that how you remember?
Yeah, that's how I know.
Well, get this win this weekend, Randy.
Yeah. We're here, by the way, until 11 o'clock.
Wait,
T-Mac taking the day off. Yeah. We got a long show.
Here.
What?
But we're going to end we're going to end the opening drive with rock and roll and the betting slip next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, everyone. As you know, I have been really talking about the Metro and all the benefits that it brings. The other day, I decided to take the Metro Link over to the Blues game at Enterprise Center, and it was such an easy experience. I went over to Clayton, and it was just an easy, simple ride to take over there. And I really enjoyed the experience because I really think that public transportation is something that is vitally important to the community. And there's many benefits, right, Randy, even if you don't ride.
Well, and one of those is not having to deal with traffic. And if I sit in traffic on 40, I'm pounding on my steering wheel many times, and I don't have to do that when I'm on the Metro. And it is so easy and so inexpensive. You don't have to pay $20 for parking. You can pay $5 for a whole day of riding Metro and have a really convenient trip. And if you want to support your community, riding Metro supports local business and helps reduce traffic congestion. It really does make a difference, not only for the whole community, but for you as an individual. And here's the thing. You might have preconceived notions about Metro. Well, give it a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
All right, Matthew Rocchio, what do you got for us on the rock and roll today?
Well, we were just talking about some big games in the NFL, and I want to put together a little betting slip for the weekend. And so I'm going to pull two of your guys' the NFL conversations you were just having. I'm going to pull two of those to get my first two bets. The first one's going to be the game you guys are all really happy about and excited to see, and that's the Jets and the Bills. The Bills are at home, and they're giving up 7 points, a full touchdown to the Jets. Also, you could get the over-under at just 40 even. What are we betting on that Jets-Bills game?
Nothing?
Nothing? You don't like any of that?
I don't know what the Jets or the Bills are going to do, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, you want to bet is there a prop bet for interceptions?
Yeah,
I actually like that way better.
If it's 2.5, take the over.
I can find that actually.
In the game. That prop bet I will take. Other than that, I wouldn't mess with no Jets and Bills. I don't know what the hell's what they're going to do. I have no clue. I'd like to know.
Turnover?
Yeah, Zach Thompson. Zach Wilson.
Either one.
Yeah, Zach Wilson.
Zach Thompson might actually be better.
Yeah.
Might have a more accurate arm. Is that what you're saying?
If it's 3.5, you might be able to take it as well.
What the heck? They don't do any.
That should be.
I don't see a single prop for turnovers.
You should leave that one alone.
That's a missed opportunity.
I agree. Leave that one alone.
We'll leave it alone then.
Yeah.
What about Brooks Jaguars? Excuse me. Brooks Titans.
Oh my God.
My apologies. I corrected it. Are traveling to Jacksonville to face off against the Jaguars. Same spread in that game. It's a 7-point spread. The Jaguars giving up the touchdown to the Titans, and it's a 40.5 over under in that one.
I'll take the Jags to cover that.
I will too.
Yeah.
You guys aren't going to make me pick against my
40.5
Titans, are
is
you?
a difficult task.
You don't have to book.
40.5 is a difficult task because both teams usually need to score, and I don't know if Tennessee will participate in that.
They really, CD, to be fair, they really haven't scored that highly this season. They kind of stick around that 20 range.
I think in 24-17, though.
What is it, 45 or 40?
40 and a half.
40 and a half.
24-17 would get you over.
Yeah. That might be a little high, but
okay.
I actually think the over is really. All
right, let's go over.
On that one too. I like the Jags and I like the over on that one. I'm going to switch it to the college football because I actually think there's some fascinating bets out here. One that I'm honing in on. Did you guys see that JMU, James Madison University's waiver to participate in the postseason this year got declined?
I did see that.
And I have a feeling they're not too happy about that. They're giving up 9.5 points this weekend to Appalachian State at home. I think they're going to hammer them. Really? I'm thinking that's a 14-point win. You're bad news. You're fired up. You're ranked. You want to show people that your 10-0 record's real. You're going to absolutely go out there and hammer Appalachian State. I think JMU with the points, 9.5. That's easy for them.
All right.
Top 25 offense in college football.
Let us know what we get next week so we can.
I'm good with that.
All right. And then on the other side, the recent Iowa run of unders has me fascinated with these terrible offenses playing each other and how crazy the under can get. So, East Carolina faces off against Navy this week. And the over-under is 30.5. East Carolina is the 126th ranked offense with 18.1 points per game. Navy is the 118th ranked offense with 19.7 points per game. They are both top 50 defenses as well. Do we go over or under 30.5 for this college football game?
Going over. 19-18.
That sounds terrible.
Good defenses, but not like that level where they just completely shut teams out. Yep. I think Randy's right. I think that one's a little bit low just because of all right, the teams aren't very good.
Let's see what happens.
We'll go over on that one. And then the big one, UW at Oregon State. Again, an interesting game. I'm fascinated by this because Oregon State ranked 11th, obviously a strong team despite having 2 losses. UW's looking to make a run towards the playoffs. And Oregon State hosting UW is giving up 1.5 points. They are home favorites despite UW obviously being the number 5 team in the nation. Are we seeing a home upset or are you taking the road dog?
I'm taking the road dog.
Yeah, take them.
Yeah, take it.
We're at the point in the year where the better teams
doesn't matter where you play.
Yeah.
All right, and my last one right now. We just saw it last night. It was a little bit rough. The Blues get beat by the Sharks. But right now, they are still positive money to be a playoff team. Randy, are they? If the playoffs were today, would they be a playoff team?
Yes, they would.
Well, right now you can still get them plus 130. Are we making a futures bet on the Blues right now to be a playoff team in 2024?
Which Blues team is going to show up?
Well, that's kind of the.
I wish we could know
part
that,
about
right?
the bet, Carrie.
The problem that you have here.
You're getting positive money, 100 to win 130.
But is that worth it?
Is it worth it? Is it really
I don't think it is at this point. And by the way, the Blues are at the moment 1 point out of a playoff spot. Arizona with a victory has 18 points. The Blues has 17. I don't get enough value there at plus 130.
So no, thank you.
Fair enough. One final one because I missed this. Louisville scores 33 points per game. They are traveling to Miami, and the over/under is 46.5. They score 34 points a game. They're traveling to Miami, and the over/under is 46.5.
Yeah, over.
Yep.
Agreed.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, so we're taking over on Louisville, Miami. We're taking UW, the underdogs at home against. What'd you say?
Did you say Ville again?
Louisville. We're taking the under with Louisville. We're going with the road dog UW against Oregon State. The East Carolina and Navy over on 30.5. We're taking James Madison minus 9.5. The Jaguars minus 7 at home. And we're going to lay off on the Blues futures right now because they just got beat by the worst team in the league. And so
all right,
our confidence is a little racked.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
Coming up here, we are going to start partying. We don't have it's not
Your
a fire.
mic is sizzling. Why is it sizzling?
Sizzle. I don't know. Action in the studio.
That's good timing because we're off now.
No, we are. T-Mac is out today. T-Mac and Ajax have turned the party over to us. Oh, my. Hey, could the Cardinals be relatively less impacted by the Diamond Bally problem than other mid-market franchises? That's next on The Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
It's pro time at Lowe's. Get big savings and rewards during Provember. Right now, buy one exclusive DeWalt 20-volt Max XR Power Detect 2-tool combo kit. Get one select Power Detect Bear tool free. That's up to a $249 value. And there's more. Save $200 on a DeWalt 12-inch dual bevel sliding miter saw. Because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 11/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Hey, I want you to get in touch with Gloria Lou if you're considering selling your home. Even if you're considering selling your home, Gloria can give you all of the information that you need because she's the best in the business. She is the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and her number is 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. And Gloria's name is her promise and says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, and that's guaranteed. She has solutions for every type of home seller, and she already has buyers in place for you with an exclusive database dating back 20 years that provides you buyers that are going to provide you the most money and the highest demand. She sells for more and sells faster when compared to your average agent. She's not your average agent. She's St. Louis local real estate authority. It's Gloria Lou, 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. If you're considering selling your home, learn what you can from Gloria Lou at GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
For a limited time, First Community is offering a rate of 5% annual percentage yield on a 12-month or an 18-month certificate of deposit. Take your pick. You can open a CD with as little as $500, and there's no limit. Unlike some high-risk investments, CDs are fully insured to keep your savings safe, and the return on your investment is guaranteed. Please visit firstcommunity.com to learn more. Requires a $500 minimum deposit to open. Call 1-800-767-8880 for terms and conditions. Federally insured up to $250,000 by NCUA.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation. Because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing
10:07 in St. Louis. Welcome to the balloon party. No T-Mac and Ajax today. We've got Brooke, we've got Carrie, we've got Randy, we've got Matthew. And Brooke, why don't we just step aside here and let Matthew talk NBA? Just like Ajax would.
Oh,
Let's
man.
go. All right. What's going on
Here we go.
Okay. First things first, though. You guys, does anybody have at the ready the Charissa Thompson statement?
I do.
Can we read the Charissa? If you haven't heard, Charissa Thompson said on the Pardon My Take podcast on the old Barstool Sports. She said this. Well, we're finding it. She said basically that she used to work the sidelines and that didn't always talk to the coaches before she issued her reports.
I haven't been fired for saying it, but I'll say it again. I would make up the report sometimes because A, the coach wouldn't come out at halftime, or it was too late, and I was like, I didn't want to screw up the report, so I was like, I'm just going to make this up because, first of all, no coach is going to get mad if I say, hey, we need to stop hurting ourselves. We need to be better on third down. We need to stop turning the ball
Pressure
over.
the quarterback.
We need, yeah, exactly, and do a better job of getting off the field. Like, they're not going to correct me on that.
Right.
So I'm like, it's fine. I'll just make up the report.
Okay, and obviously a huge firestorm, especially among people in the industry yesterday and people outside the industry. So this morning, Charissa Thompson has issued Brooke a response statement. Here it is.
On her Instagram account, she posted this statement saying, okay, let's address the elephant in the room. I have a responsibility to myself and my employers to clarify what is being reported. When on a podcast this week, I said I would make up reports early in my career when I worked as a sideline reporter before I transitioned to my current host role. Working in media, I understand how important words are, and I chose the wrong words to describe the situation. I'm sorry. I have never lied about anything or been unethical during my time as a sports broadcaster. In the absence of a coach providing any information that could further my report, I would use information that I learned and saw during the first half to create my report. For example, if a team was 0 for 7 on third down, that would clearly be an area they need to improve on in the second half. In these instances, I've attributed anything I said to a player or coach. And the last statement, I have nothing but respect for sideline reporters and for the tireless work that they put in behind the scenes and on the field. I am only appreciative and humbled to work alongside some of the best in the business and call them some of my best friends. Well, she kind of angered some of her best friends because there's a lot of sideline reporters that have come out and weighed in on this.
And she does a podcast with Aaron Andrews, if I'm not mistaken.
She does, yes.
Well, so she says she said it in the podcast, I would make up the report, which tells me that you were until you said it, you were saying it as fact, so you were lying. Or if you say you never made up a report, you were lying then. So at some point,
you lied.
You lied.
Yeah. Well, and she said supposedly in those instances, I've never attributed anything I said to a player or coach. But then also in that same thing that we just played, she said that a coach wouldn't be mad if she just kind of said that statement, that if they just went out and executed it on third down or whatever she said there, that they wouldn't be upset. So that kind of backtracks in your own statement, and the same statement that you say that you are not lying.
Right. So it's kind of a kerfuffle.
It is a kerfuffle.
That she brought on herself because she didn't know how to keep her mouth closed. No one asked. I mean, they didn't ask that specific question, I don't think. And if they did, that's when you lie. And I would never do that. The integrity of my job means too much to me. I wouldn't make up a report. Hell yeah, I did. No, why would I tell you? Just be discreet in what you're doing. You don't have to share everything with everyone. But people go on these podcasts and they pour out their soul, and we love it because it's great content. But at the end of the day, if it can ruin what you have going on or impact it or have people looking at you kind of in a way that you would prefer that they didn't, you probably should keep some things to yourself.
And it's a dream job. And so it's a very privileged situation to be in, to be able to get that opportunity. There's a lot of people who work really hard to get to that point. So it's almost a slap in the face to others, and especially for women in the industry. And I know that there was one person who was infuriated by that on our text line earlier, but this is true. A woman in any male-dominated situation, whether that's in sports or outside of sports, there's a lot of people just kind of waiting for a reason to say, this is why women should not be in sports, right? I mean, this is a situation that happens all the time. And so Charissa just really adds fuel to the fire when she makes a statement like that.
Yeah, it's a shame that has all unfolded this way. But I refuse to believe that anything was taken out of context. I think she meant exactly what she said on the Pardon My Take podcast. And maybe she was just too loose and having too much fun, but you have to be a pro. You just have to be a pro. It's the balloon party on 101 ESPN. Coming up, a couple of baseball notes. Number one, will the Cardinals be affected by what's happening with Bally Sports and Diamond with regards to their revenues and how much they'll spend? And the Las Vegas A's are moving. Well, the Oakland A's are moving to Vegas. Where does this set MLB in terms of expansion? That's next on 101 ESPN. There's a lot of concern about the revenue for Major League Baseball teams that are televised by Bally/Diamond Sports. Diamond Sports is the owner of Bally Sports, and they went into a tremendous amount of debt to buy their regional sports networks from Fox Sports, and they have filed for bankruptcy because of that debt. They're reorganizing, and a couple of teams have lost their Bally revenue, the Padres and the Diamondbacks, during the season last year because at the prescribed time of the contract, Diamond/Bally didn't pay the rights fees to those franchises. But the Cardinals in St. Louis are one of the most valuable franchises that Bally televises. They still have roughly 10 years left on their contract, and Bally has made it pretty clear that their crown jewel franchises, the ones they make money from, they're going to keep paying. And there is a contract in place, so it would seem to me, and I don't know this to be complete reality, but if there's a contract and Bally keeps paying to enforce the contract, that the Cardinals have to abide. And I would think the Cardinals would like having that check in hand every single year. So because of the Cardinals getting great TV ratings on a regular basis, they're always number 1 or 2 in Major League Baseball. My guess would be that they'll be probably one of the last 3 or 4 franchises to not have a Bally affiliation, and they'll continue to get their money for the foreseeable future. I don't think there is as much to worry about for the Cardinals as there would be for example, the Minnesota Twins or the Marlins or the Rays.
Well, if you're the Cardinals, are you starting to work on possibly your own network? Like you have the Yes Network, you have NESN, you also have Marquee with the Cubs. Do you start working on your own network to keep here?
I would think that Major League Baseball will be the umbrella for every Major League team ultimately. And the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Cubs, those are the 4 biggest markets. Those are going to be different animals, I think, than what we're talking about in St. Louis. My guess would be that Major League Baseball, like they had in place for the Padres and the Diamondbacks, will be able to televise games. And my anticipation would be that ultimately you will have a pregame show, and I think this is one of the reasons that Major League Baseball Network moved Harold Reynolds to a pregame role, that you'll have Adnan Virk and Harold Reynolds essentially doing a pregame show like you see on the NFL Today on CBS. And then they'll throw you out to your game, then you'll see your game, and then when your game is over, you'll go back and it'll be Greg Amsinger and the gang doing a post-game show. That would be my guess ultimately for what happens, but I don't think that that's going to happen here in St. Louis for a long time.
There's more money to be made by owning your own everything.
More risk, but way more reward.
Way more reward. And so you think the Cardinals aren't willing to take that risk because we talked about, I mean, it impacts baseball, but what about the other sports that are on
NHL.
Bally's as well? NHL, I see some basketball teams, the Pacers play on Bally's as well. There are other sports that are a part of this as well, and it can impact them as well. So it's going to be intriguing to see how this all plays out. I don't know how the setup works with MLB Network being the facilitator for all baseball. Is it more accessible? Hopefully, because I'm sure there's a large group of fans that don't get Bally's or unable to see those Cardinal games, and that could be frustrating for me. One of the reasons why I keep the cable company that I do have is because I can watch Bally's. Otherwise, I would be straight unplugged from all of cable.
Ultimately, everything is going to be streamed. Everything is going to be a streaming service, and we aren't. Cable sports, as we know it, won't exist anymore because you'll just be using your smart TV and you'll go to MLB or whatever, Cardinals Blues. What would the name of Cardinals Blues? Clues?
Oh,
Clues TV?
That sounds like Blues Clues.
Yeah, something like that. So you'll just click over and you'll watch it on a stream. So you have a huge delay and multiple buffering situations during the course of a game like we saw last night on Amazon.
Very smooth and seamless, right?
Yeah.
If I'm the NHL, I would be very concerned about what this means. And if I'm the Blues, I'm very much advocating for the Cardinals to maybe work on their own St. Louis network because that is going to be really necessary. Think about the ripple effect of what that's going to do to spending and how they can spend on players. That's it. I know that the Cardinals have been brought up if there's concerns of what that would mean for the Cardinals' revenue and how they would even use that towards spending. Is that even a thought that you have, or would this be a bigger issue for an NHL team?
I don't think Bally is going to go under anytime soon. They're in the midst of a reorganization now, and what the product itself is profitable. The reason that they don't have money is because of what they spent to buy them, and that's where their creditors are. For lack of a better term, they're going to be left holding the bag because those people that they borrowed from to actually buy the product are the ones that are going to be victimized, if that's the correct term, by the bankruptcy. But once they're clear of those debts, they actually have a profitable product for most teams. And I think they'll keep the ones that are profitable and let the Padres and the Diamondbacks of the world go by the wayside. People in St. Louis, and this is right now as we speak, on November 17th, 2023, people love to buy Cardinal baseball. Will it be that way in a year if the Cardinals lose 91 games again and City SC has another great season? Not so sure, because you got to get bang for your buck. But as we speak right now, the Cardinals, to me, are still the most powerful entity in electronic media in St. Louis.
Unless they don't win. All of those things are tied together. They better figure it out.
Yeah, and I liked the broadcast for Apple, and maybe a lot of that has to do with Taylor Twellman and his very intimate knowledge with St. Louis, but I like having the local broadcasters specific to this area, and I just personally like that. So my concern is that if you do go to this more kind of streaming and where everything's on Major League Baseball, it feels like it would be less intimate of just having that person who's around this team all the time.
I think either way, it's going to be Chip and BT on TV.
You don't think it will get to like what MLS did, where there's like a regional broadcaster, or it could be just a national broadcaster.
Right. I think everybody in baseball and hockey will stay with their teams. And one thing we should note is that baseball, the MLB network and NHL network are literally under the same roof in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And they should theoretically be able to work together. The NHL hopefully would incur some of the costs, and they aren't going to generate the revenue, I don't think. The baseball does. But I would hope that when we talk about teams teaming up together, that the Cardinals and Blues would be facilitated together by MLB and NHL.
You would hope. I mean, it's good for business. It's good for the city. So you would hope that it all works out in the way that it should.
Now, another thing going on in baseball is that the A's are moving to Vegas. Rob Manfred has said, we are going to expand to 32 until we get our Tampa Bay and Oakland problems solved. Tampa Bay is apparently going to build a new stadium right where their old stadium is and stay in St. Petersburg. Now the A's situation is apparently settled, and they're going to be in Vegas next year. Brooke, welcome hometown to Major League Baseball.
Hey.
Yes.
Nashville Sounds? Do we call them the Nashville Sounds?
That's what they have there now. The Nashville Sounds. You don't know about the Nashville Sounds?
I'm aware of it. I'm just, we can.
What would you prefer it to be?
We can juice it up a little bit.
Predators?
Sounds is not a good enough name for a Major League Baseball team.
It's a really good name.
No.
Yes, it is.
Sounds?
What's wrong with the Sounds? It's the Music City.
I'm aware of that. Like that's why that's why I name like the Jazz and the Blues are good franchise names.
Yeah.
The Sound?
The Sounds.
Nashville Blues. Nashville Jazz.
There might be some controversy.
I'm a Nashville Jazz. I'm a Nashville Sound.
Sounds.
No, but if you were playing for them, you would be a Nashville
How about the Nashville Music?
Why'd your face do
Music
that?
City.
For some reason, my mic cut out. That was weird. The honky tonks.
Honky tonks. Now we're thinking.
We are cooking. We are cooking right now.
Nashville honkies. I like it.
No, the honky tonks.
How about
the honky tonks?
Okay, Brooke, I've got it for you here. I've got it for you. The Nashville Woo Woo.
No, not the Woo Girls. And that's
Can they be?
Nashville.
Can we tie two things? Can they be the Miracles? The Music City Miracle.
Nashville
Miracles.
Yeah.
Wow, CD. I like that.
We tie that together.
Now, personally,
like
just because I said it, I like the honky tonks. But that's just me. But that actually is a really, really good one.
I believe Nashville is a lock. Is the other one Charlotte or Montreal?
Charlotte, I think. I can see Charlotte for sure.
Montreal's done this before.
But they needed a new stadium, and now they'll have a new stadium.
You think they want more teams over the border?
I can't imagine that it would hurt. That's a massive market.
I like Charlotte, though.
Yep.
Charlotte is a good city. It's
and Charlotte can handle. Well, I've talked to people from Charlotte that I get mixed reviews on whether or not Charlotte could handle 81 home games.
Ooh. I think Charlotte could.
I think Charlotte can. I think that makes the most sense. But I am going back to Nashville just real quick. One, the honkies is very funny, and people keep texting that in. But this is huge for Nashville. It's definitely growing, as you guys know. They're going to make a new Titan Stadium that's like over $1 billion, and then to get this baseball team. There is such a rich baseball history in Nashville. You have Vanderbilt baseball right there. Vandy is what got me into baseball, specifically college baseball and everything they've done over the years. And so I'm very excited about this for Nashville, and we'll see what happens with it. Maybe it'll be the honky tonks.
Yeah.
And not the Sounds, apparently.
Does anybody feel bad for Oakland fans?
I do.
I I definitely do. I mean, you lose 3 franchises in the span of, 4 years? 5 years? When did Vegas leave? When did the Raiders leave? The Raiders left in 19?
Yeah.
So 19, you lost them. The Warriors go across the bridge to San Francisco, and now the Athletics are out of there as well.
Mm-hmm.
That has to feel really bad for, Oakland citizens, for their fans of those teams, because Oakland is a really tight knit community. They have their own entity,
and they aren't San Francisco. They aren't Niners fans.
Correct.
They aren't Giants fans. And the one that probably hurts them the most, you talk about dagger to the heart, is the Warriors moving across the water.
Yes, because they were winning in Oakland. They were winning championships. They were going about their business and having that success, and to just up and leave. And even though it's right across the bridge, but still, it's a difference. It's like, this is Oakland, that's San Francisco, and they are not ours anymore. Yeah. It's I'm sure it's tough for those people.
And I'm intrigued to see whether or not Vegas can handle this. Again, 81 home games, number 40 market in America. Are Royals fans going to go to Vegas to see a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday series? They're counting on the same thing that
there is things to do there.
There's always something.
But during the week, that's the thing. Is the thing, if you're a fan of the Royals or the Tigers or the Guardians, are the things you want to go to Vegas to see baseball?
If you're a baseball fan, but then if you're going to you can find something to do that night.
It's one thing to go to spend 4 hours to go to a Raiders game or 4 hours to go to a hockey team's game, right? To see your team play. But are you going to go there to see 3 baseball games in 3 days? I don't think I am.
If you need to get to Vegas, you are.
Yeah,
but go to one game and spend the rest of the day.
That's the thing. Go to one game.
Yes.
So I just wonder how the attendance.
How many people travel? Do people normally travel to watch an entire series, or do they just go?
Well, when there's not a whole lot else to do, like Cardinal fans will go to Denver to go to all 3 games, or they'll go to Miami.
You don't think they will go to Las Vegas to watch 3 games?
I don't think they'll go to because there's so much other things to do. So many other things to do.
But that kind of makes it more fun because everything. Yeah, because then everything you go to the game and you can just keep the party going.
Yeah, we'll see if it works.
And the game ends at 9 p.m. Your options are limited.
Yeah. And you have to take vacation too. It's for the Raiders or the Golden Knights. You're going on a weekend. You're leaving home on Friday night, coming home on Sunday night. And you're able to spend the weekend there, especially for a football game that's on Sunday afternoon. It's not going to work that way for baseball.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. Either way, I really feel for the A's fans, and I know that John Fisher made that statement to those protesters saying that he feels worse, which is silly. I know he put out a little bit of a better statement, but either way, I feel like I know completely different sports, but it just feels like everything that happened here in St. Louis, where they tried to paint things out in such a negative light. Ken Rosenthal, I can't find the tweet right now, but he put out how little the A's have spent in payroll over the years, and it goes way, way back. They were towards the bottom of the league in payroll every single year. This was purposely done, and also the city, everything that has happened there, to really set up for this move.
Yeah, and it's a franchise that's been there since the late 60s, early 70s, and obviously won 3 World Series in a row, then went to 3 more World Series. They've had a lot of good things. There's a lot of history in Oakland, and it's sad for them. Coming up, Rocc's got a hill to die on. He hasn't even told us yet what the hill is, but we'll hear it next on 101 ESPN. It's a balloon party. Yeah, it's not T-Mac. It's Brooke and Carrie and Randy and us. And
should we do our impressions
Matthew.
of them? Maybe that's next.
Yeah, that can be next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night, the Blues get beat up by the Sharks 5-1, so they are back in action tomorrow. Another late game facing off against the LA Kings. Also, last night, it was the Ravens and the Bengals kicking off Week 11 of the NFL season, and it was a big win for the Ravens, although they didn't come through completely unscathed, as tight end Mark Andrews is likely out for the season after that game. And last night in college basketball, Missouri down big against Minnesota early, made a late run and won that game 70-68. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You should have seen.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
That's my opinion!
Well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
He's not aligned, but he's right.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion.
Matthew always has an unpopular opinion. That's his hill to die on.
I like how Joey explained my entire mindset earlier today on the show. That was
groundbreaking.
For a second, I was like, he's not gonna perfectly explain me to a T right now without even knowing he's talking about me. And then he proceeded to simply explain me perfectly across like 60 seconds as this entire show laughed their asses
glorious.
off.
It was much needed.
It was much
I don't know why you guys think I'm always so paranoid or negative. Anyhow, let me yell about something really quickly. Back in 2005, in an article, I'm going back here, in an article in the Sports Business Journal, Peter Rahn, who was the director of the Missouri Department of Transportation, he likened the proposed reconstruction of I-64 to doing heart surgery without any anesthesia. And I think that's a good thing, because that highway keeps stabbing me in the chest every day I drive on it.
4064?
Yes. How in God's name? And I feel personally about this because I had to drive carpool to CBC. I lived in the city during the years that 40 was shut down.
Sure.
And it made my morning commute an absolute living hell. And so I feel very personally connected to the construction of 40, because I thought, you know what? I had to wake up at 5:30 as a high school student, but my life's going to be easier the rest of the time I'm living in St. Louis, because this construction is going to fix everything. And it somehow got worse. How did we shut down the highway for a year and it get worse, Randy Carricker?
Why is it worse?
Because that stupid jumble right at Big Bend never fails to just completely just glop up and end everything. They didn't fix anything. They spent $420 million. I know they can't widen certain lanes here. We have to do exit ramps here. It didn't make it any better. It somehow is still terrible, I don't know how.
Can I interest you in some cities named Chicago, Atlanta?
Yeah, they have a lot of people in their city.
Houston.
I was going to say.
We don't have a lot of people in our city. We shouldn't have this problem. There's not enough people who live here to be like, no, we have the same issues as Atlanta. No.
You do have those issues when you have
highway
all of
reconstruction.
Those cars
we blew
it in the same direction at the same time. That's generally how traffic starts. I lived in Rocc. I don't. Listen,
they have more people.
It doesn't matter,
yes,
man.
It does.
It does
of course
not.
It does.
Rocc. You're complaining. How long does it take you to get from where you say Big Bend to?
Well, if I'm going down 40 if I'm starting here, I'm starting at 270 and I'm trying to get to Kings Highway. If it's at a certain part of the day, it'll take me 45 minutes.
That's wonderful, Rocc. I have sat on the 405.
That's fair.
Literally.
That's a real city.
For 3 hours to go 2 exits. This is not an exaggeration.
I know that.
This is the truth.
You're not telling me anything that surprises me.
It's
but
bad.
St. Louis is not Atlanta.
You cannot
St. Louis
complain
is
about
not
traffic
Phoenix.
here, man.
St. Louis is not
you
LA.
You cannot complain about traffic
And more
here.
than that. More than that.
Takes you 30 minutes to get
here's the issue.
everywhere.
Let me explain this. But Carrie, this isn't about.
20,
I don't care about other cities right now. I'm talking about they had a chance to fix it, and they didn't fix it.
Well,
and my point is that the population in St. Louis has not been booming since 2009, Carrie. And so you're dealing with a similar amount of cars, and yet nothing got better.
To see you go on the Dan Ryan Expressway, which is literally,
I don't know
in
why
my
you're bringing
opinion,
up other cities.
been under construction since I was in college.
I'm not sure why you're bringing up other cities.
Every time I go to Chicago, they're working on the damn thing.
I think it's because it's relative.
There you go.
That's why you bring up others. Like, do you think there's traffic problems in Austin, Texas?
Yeah.
Yes.
Austin, Texas's population is one rank below the St. Louis metro population.
But where was it 10 years ago?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter because that's how construction builds for
it's all relative.
the people in this town.
You're complaining about something that really doesn't exist, relatively speaking.
It definitely exists. I'm not the only. Here's the thing. I am not the only person. Hold on a second. I'm not the only person on Hubbard.
Let me start with this. St. Louis doesn't have traffic. Relatively speaking, there is no traffic in St. Louis.
And so, relatively speaking, if there's one area that has a lot of bad traffic, that would be anomalous and therefore an oddity, correct?
You know what you can do? If you are stuck on 40, you can literally get off and go around. And hold on, because in Atlanta, where I also lived, you can't go around either.
No.
Rocc, listen, I stayed in Flowery Branch, Swansea.
Yeah, Swanee, S-U-W-A-N.
Georgia, which is way far north. And I avoided going downtown. There is nothing downtown for me because if I have to go downtown, I literally had to leave 2 hours prior to the time I was supposed to normally leave. If you wanted to be somewhere at 7 o'clock here, you left by 6, you're probably going to get there with 15 minutes to spare. If you leave in other cities and have to be somewhere at 7 and you leave at 6, you're going to get there at 8:30. And that's how traffic works. That's why this hill is relatively, as you speak, if I need to be somewhere at 7 and I live in Atlanta, I'm going to have to leave at 4.
Okay.
I'm going to have to leave at 2
Here's my point.
If I'm in L.A. because just on the off chance that I get caught in 3 hour, 4 hour traffic.
Here's my point.
Wait, just real quick. How many extra minutes is this adding, you would say?
It's probably tripling the time. It should take me 15 minutes.
The time?
It should take me 15 minutes, and it takes me 45.
But you're saying that if the construction were done properly, there would be no traffic?
Not in that one area. It wouldn't. If there's no traffic elsewhere on 40, and there's no traffic after that area on 40, my point is that was a hold on a second. That was a problem area in 2005. They spent 3 years working on it, and when it reopened in 2010, it was still a problem area. They didn't fix the biggest problem with the highway in the area that they were doing the construction. Therefore, if this was the goal, they failed to reach said goal.
For you as Mr. Street Designer, what would you have done differently?
But I'm not an expert in this, Randy. I'm saying the experts screwed up. I can
How
point
do you know
out
they screwed up if you're not an expert in it?
Traffic problem got no better without more cars being on the road. And this has nothing to do with other cities. Again, this is all about where was it in 05? Where was it in 23?
Can I offer up
other
a challenge
cities
for
don't
you?
matter.
Can I offer up a challenge for you?
Do it.
I challenge you to live somewhere for 6 months.
I know it's worse other places,
it's
though.
It's much worse.
I know that, though. That's not part of this.
You will gladly come back and take the 45 minutes that you're...
That's not part of this argument, though.
Yeah, it really is.
I can tell you this. Having worked downtown for many, many years, going from Creve Coeur via 40 downtown at 9 in the morning is way better now than it was in 1985. Way better. And I apples to apples because I drove both.
And my only thing is that I have heard from other people similar to your age, one person who works at this station who disagrees with it being better from 05 to 23.
Okay, I can say from my
85 to 03?
experience, when I would drive down to KMOX, when I would have to work mornings at 8 or 9 in the morning, or now if I have to go down and take my daughter to a doctor's appointment at 8 or 9, it's way better than it was.
I think, honestly, moving from Nashville, I was so used to just commuting in Middle Tennessee because there's just traffic everywhere. If you want to get from one side of town to the other, it could take an hour or more because it's just terrible traffic-wise there. If you visited Nashville, lived there, you know what I'm talking about. And then when I moved here, I was like, okay, well, I got to make sure I get on the highway at this time because of traffic. And then I was like looking at the clock. I'm like, what? Where's the traffic? Did something happen? It was so nice moving here. It was so nice moving here. And there was no real traffic. Unless there's an accident, which that's something that happens everywhere. But there is no real traffic here. And I love it.
I have been on the highway in Atlanta at 12 p.m. And I'm trying to figure out why the hell these people at 10 a.m. Why aren't you at work yet? At 2 p.m. Why aren't you at work still? 12 a.m. 12 p.m. Why is everybody taking their lunch right now? 4 p.m. Where the hell time do you people get off? Why the hell are you on this damn highway? Go home.
Yeah,
Go to work.
what's the outer loop that goes around the whole city?
285.
I know what you're talking about.
One time, Pascual Perez, a pitcher for the Braves, got stuck on that. He just kept circling the city because he didn't know where to get off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how long did that take?
I've had that thought in Chicago where like it's literally 11:30 on a Thursday, and you look over at the overpasses, and it's completely covered with cars. You're just like, how are you not having any places to go
for a living?
I'm going to let you guys take this balloon party down the stretch here. I got some other work to do.
Business.
But it's been
bye.
a distinct pleasure working with you on a balloon party, and I will see you guys on Monday morning, right?
Yes, we'll
Everybody's
be here. Yes.
For Thanksgiving week.
It's a big week because we have our food draft.
It's on Tuesday,
It's a big
right?
week because it's a
Yes.
short week.
Yeah, that's
that too, but also the food
Good
draft.
deal. Good.
Okay.
You guys have fun. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
See you
you
later.
too.
Bye.
Of course, it's Vitale, which means vitality and life and vigor, and it's a great, solid Sicilian name. My grandpa, of course, from Palermo, and a beautiful name. But the E, you gotta let the E sail on it. It's like Vitale, and it's like bam. And then all of a sudden, this crazy wacko guy named Dick Vitale comes into the picture, and he's got all his energy, and I love what he does, and he's got this basketball mind, and people love his babies and his up-tempo and his just charisma and curiosity. And then, of course, I think somewhere along the line, his agent said, hey, Vitale's not working, let's go Vitale. It's simpler. So I can't tell you how many times I go to a restaurant, or you're at Chipotle and you give them your name, or Starbucks and you look at your card and it's like, oh, Joe Vitale. I'm like, oh my God, it's Vitale.
That was the great Joey Vitale. Explained to us why it is spelled and said the way that it is instead of what Dick Vitale likes to call it. So,
and then he called this.
Yeah, he did.
Chipotle.
We have it. Chipotle. There's an L in there.
Chipotle. What is your favorite version? Chipotle?
I call it Chipotle.
No, I like Chipotle. I like when people say
I like Chipotle.
And now I'm going to add this one, Chipotle.
Yeah. And we also learned from Joey V about Italians and their nerve issues, like the anxiety that
always
is
looking over our shoulder.
Just the nervousness. It was explained in such a way. It was
Stop doing that.
100%.
Stop doing that.
Accurate as to what we see from one Matthew Rocca, and now I'm okay with it.
Last segment, Carrie. If I'm ever stuck in traffic, somebody can sneak up on me.
Oh my God!
I gotta be constantly moving. I gotta be constantly moving.
Now that joke could have went. We could have. You're in a car. We could have went a bunch of different ways. Italians. Yeah.
Do you do this too when you get very angry at the drivers?
Doing that? No. I use my hand in a much different way when I get angry at drivers.
Yeah, give him something else. He's
a little Shakespeare style.
Yeah,
a little Shakespeare style.
You bite your thumb at him. Oh. Come on, I'm a very sophisticated cursor.
We are. This is. It was an intriguing.
Speaking of
take
weird things with cars, have you read that stuff about Diddy?
That's where I was going.
Wait, what? What happened with Diddy? What happened with Diddy?
Allegedly
needs to be buried.
Okay, tell me the story.
There is some car bombing going on with one Sean Puffy Combs.
Excuse me?
There's one allegation.
Do you need more than one?
That's true. That's true. There's an allegation out there alongside a stream of some of the most disgusting domestic violence reports I've ever read in my entire life. And smushed in there is that apparently, allegedly, Diddy rigged Kid Cudi's car to blow up.
Yep. I'm sorry, if I put P. Diddy car bomb into into our machines here, our little Google machine over here, will I get in trouble with HR?
Oh, I don't think so.
Because it's the company computer?
It's risky, but then again, TMA does stuff on the Hubbard computers all morning.
You're searching information. You're searching for information.
It is legitimately.
Yeah, there were some. Which is why Matthew Rocchio sitting in cars in traffic is nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
wow.
See, exactly.
It's all tied together.
That's not the. Trust me, that's the lightest thing in that story.
Because it reminds me of the story that Randy, when we were talking about mob connections and things like that, of the car bombings here in St. Louis
in the 70s and 80s, right?
I believe one happened in the 90s because
that is really
or maybe it was
recent.
late. It was late 80s, early 90s. Because again, a friend of mine's mom is the one who photographed the photos that's on the Post-Dispatch. She took the photos, and
we need Randy to come back.
It was Cassie that brought this forward.
Yes,
I love Cassie. I'm so glad that she got out of this.
You're gonna read some of that and be disgusted.
I'm reading it right now, and I'm already
You got anything else for us, Matthew?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Outside of car
information
bombings?
that we need before we head into the weekend, because it is going to be a glorious weekend. I have a 2-day work week next week.
Carrie.
I'm sorry.
Did you talk to Tim McCurden about how to figure this out with scheduling wise?
I'm off on Wednesday next week, and I'm off on Monday of the week after, so I'm going to get good 5-6 days in of
that's the setup.
Rest and relaxation.
Yeah. What are you doing this weekend?
This weekend? Not doing much. I'm relaxing. I got an event that I'm going to speak at tomorrow.
Okay.
And then I'm going to another event on Saturday evening. So I got a few things going on, but nothing
booked and busy this weekend.
A little bit. Trying to have fun.
Nice.
Enjoying myself. Enjoying life. Tomorrow morning, I'll be talking to a group of young men. I'm taking my son with me. We'll be talking to a group of young men called Dudes, Dads, and Donuts, just having life
I think I saw that. Brandon Williams is going to be there, right?
Yep, having life conversations and just going over what it takes to be a man.
Oh, that's nice.
That's Brooke. I'm Kerry. Matthew, thank you so much. Coming up next, you have BK and Ferrario. They are at Centene.
Yep, always on Friday.
They're at Centene. They'll be next on 101 ESPN.